big up, and welcome to Liberal 12 Man Show. I'm Liberal 12 Man, and we are about to get into a little Finally Friday, because that's what it kind of always comes down to. Is the weekend is here. That means Premier League football. It means that we get to see fantasy picks. If you got fantasy picks out there, it means that you get to see other teams get in action. But most of all, it means that we get to see our beloved Reds get involved in some action. So it will be a good weekend for us, hopefully, most of all, hopefully for you, and certainly for myself as well, and for our panel too as well. Lee, and I think Brian's about.
Bobby working with Mourinho is an interesting link if he goes to Fenerbahce, you know?
Yeah, that would be.
Do you think he would do that? I thought he went home to Brazil and he seemed to be happy with doing that. I thought he'd gone home to Brazil.
I thought that he was going to do that too, but you know what? Money talks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe he's convinced him he's got another trophy in him at Fenerbahce.
I think it's also maybe an opportunity, just another opportunity to continue playing the game that you love to play. And if you don't think that you're done, then it's an opportunity to make the most of it.
A couple of ex-Liverpool guys have managed in Turkey. Souness being the most recent one I can remember, but also Gordon Milne has quite a successful managerial career, I believe, in Turkey.
Yeah, agreed. Well, how are you doing today, Lee? I was going to properly introduce you. I mean,
in good spirits.
Okay.
I was just pleased to see all the other players getting a go against Southampton. You know what I mean? It was great to see Enzo come in and do his bit, to see him get kicked all over the place. Because Enzo loves it, mate. You can tell. That's what he's here for. That's his thing, innit? Mm-hmm. He loves putting his body on the line, it's a contact sport. He wears his gum shield for a reason.
For sure.
He did just that. I thought him and Jarell looked good as the back line. Because I mean, Joe and Trent went off at half time, didn't he? And then we had Costas and Morton at full back. So it'd be interesting to see whether Costas keeps his place with playing a full half against Southampton. He might play with Gomez, Virgil, and Trent. You never know.
Yeah, there's a lot to dissect right there. Certainly, we'll get into some of that too. It's finally Friday, so we can talk about whatever you like. We got Brian in the house as well. We got Brian. How are you? I see you getting a little settled with your setup.
Yeah, I'm good. Are you breaking up? I just heard you breaking up there.
Maybe.
No, you're better. Yeah, I'm good.
No,
I just heard wah. You know that kind of wah sound. Yeah, it's breaking up. I'll go ahead and leave. I'll leave and I'll come back. I'll leave and come back. Yeah, I'm gonna leave and come back. It might be here.
Okay. Yeah, big up to everyone joining us. Big up Bernie, Kevin, Red Armchair supporter, Cedric in the house. Big up. Hope that you're doing well on this work day. I'm sure that you're probably at work because I know you like to listen to us at work. So that's what's up. Big up to Bonkers, of course. Big up. Yeah. I thought that the presser was really, really good, Kevin. I really do. I agree with you completely. I think the press conference was really, really a good one, actually. And I thought that what we saw from the press conference, most of all, was a coach that backs his players. Obviously, which is great to see. Obviously, you want a coach that backs your players. Some coaches can be a little confrontational when it comes to dealing with their players and the likes. But yeah, I was really, really happy to see that he was very, very supportive. Let's see if Brian's connection is better this time. You good?
Yeah, is it all good? You hear me?
Yeah, this one's better. Yeah, I could hear there was a lot of there's a lot of stuff going on before, but it sounds great now.
Cool.
Yeah, great to see Costas back, isn't it? It's a shame he wasn't back a game earlier for that Fulham game. So when Robbo got that knock-off day off, he could have actually took him off and put Costas on, couldn't he? We were only saying that a matter of days ago. no disrespect to Robbo, but Slot said it himself, didn't he? He said he wasn't right after the Diop challenge. And, he more or less said, didn't he, I regret not taking him off, but we knew he couldn't because there was no one to put there.
Yeah. That was definitely notable in the sense of, because we had a lot of people very, very quick to jump on. It seems like whenever someone has got one foot in the grave, they're ready to Sparta kick them into the grave themselves. But he was quick to say that, there was reasons why Robbo was playing at the level that he was playing that game. And also, you know what? I agree with Kevin too. There were some funny comments in the presser. I don't know if you guys saw the presser or not.
Yeah.
But, okay, good. Brian, did you see the presser by any chance?
I've seen it broken down. I saw quotes. Yeah. So it was
good. Yeah. That's enough to be able to comment on it, because basically a lot of it was just it was funny. He's making it sound like he's like, I'm gonna be, I think he said his agent, or it might sound like I'm his agent or his PR person or something. Because he was giving a lot of compliments to Ange.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's nice to hear. And Ange just reciprocated those comments, wasn't he, by saying he's impressed with what Ari's done so far and the way he approaches the game. So it's all been very nice, hasn't it? It's what you like to hear, managers appreciating each other.
Yeah. It is cool. I will admit that sometimes I like the positive stuff, and well and good. You got to have a little balance of both. So I did kind of like some of the managerial adversaries that we went against, like when we went against Frank Lampard and the absolute disrespectful things that he said to Klopp, on the pitch, and we were fortunate enough to in having a game that had no fans in it, we could hear everything that was being said. So there was no hiding what he had to say. And that he was already, for a lot of us, not exactly a fan favorite.
He made a prat of himself. When that COVID game, after he said, he only won one title, and you're going mad. It's like, no, Klopp isn't going mad. He isn't going mad over this. You know what I mean? Picking yourself up over it. You're just throwing at him. You're inferring that rather than it being the case.
Yep. Yeah, that's what it was. What situation it was. So useless Lampard isn't fit to lace Klopp's boots as a manager for certain red armchair supporter. That is spot on. But he still keeps going around. Keeps going around the coaching carousel. Apparently, he's about to get another coaching job.
I didn't mind him when he was in Newcastle because he was Jamie's cousin. Him and Redknapp are cousins, right? And they're around the same age. When he first come on the scene and played for West Ham, but he played for Chelsea, I quite liked Frank, and I remember his dad very well from the early 80s.
Yeah. But he is, as Brian said, he's Coventry's manager. I know. I know that JK is not too happy about that.
I like it. I was hoping you said that you like the negative stuff. I was thinking, here we go, Yeah. But I thought you were going to go for one of the bigger, I thought you were going to go like Rafa, Mourinho.
Oh
the big ones.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
I love all that. I love all that, man. I love it because they're behind the scenes. They're probably going to have a drink or have a pint or whatever, or have a coffee together. Not all of them. I love a bit of, like Kenny Dalglish, man. A lot of fans these days, look back at some of the stuff Kenny Dalglish used to say about other people, but he had this kind of dry Scottish wit that meant he got away with it. But he was the worst of a lot of them, man, for a while.
Mourinho wasn't exactly easy to deal with sometimes too when it came to the back and forth. We've obviously had it was definitely I wouldn't say a love-hate thing because Pep has always had high aspirations, or not aspirations, a high appreciation for Klopp when it came to his adversary, but the whole holding up 6 didn't endear Pep to many of us this year, to say the least.
Yeah.
I like
Klopp
that kind
had
of stuff.
that history already, didn't he, from Germany, and there was a lot of respect between them two. You know, they were constantly saying how good each other's side were.
Yeah.
But there's room for it the other way around as well when managers have a go at each other. You know, I like both things. I like them complimenting each other sometimes, and I like them having a go at each other. There's room for both things, isn't there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's see. I definitely will, like I said in the chat to Dara, I definitely will check out the Guardians list of the top 100 footballers. I'll definitely take a look at that.
I'll have a peek at that. So,
I also, let's see, what else was there? Anything else? There was, I thought, another question or comment in there. That's all. No. So your question is, well, other than that, though, in the presser, he also spoke on, like I said, he came to the defense of some players, and the likes, because he got asked about, Chiesa. He also offered up a compliment towards Darwin. He also, made some other complimentary statements for some players on our team. But what was interesting, I think maybe the question that was asked by the journalist about Chiesa was because it was weird because there were some people out there that were heavily critical of Chiesa's play, and let's be honest, and we could see that the fact that he is working back to match fitness, but again, what I said during the match, the viral match reaction that we have, I think that it's obvious that there's a absolute baller there when it comes to skills and once he gets the fitness in and gets it under his boot, he will certainly be able to kick on, I think. So it was interesting comments, though. Did you I know that Brian's very 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 high on Chiesa. Was it good to hear what the coach had to say?
For me,
for Brian, I was saying for Brian, but.
Oh yeah, sorry, I was just looking after the dog. What's the question?
I was just saying, I know, Coach. I said the Slot spoke on Chiesa. I was saying how that he's a player that you can definitely see that there's a baller there. I think there's some the skill set obviously that he had before hasn't necessarily just disappeared. It's just more so about getting his fitness back. Were you happy to hear some of the comments that the coach made on Chiesa?
Yeah, I mean, he's we wait a long time, to see the guy, but it's he had a bad injury. Yeah, of course he did. That happened. Mm-hmm. But it's not that long ago, he's one of the most highly sought after wingers on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've seen since he's come in, like you said, there's you can lose certain things, but you can't lose everything. And he's got
can't lose class, right? Yeah, is that the case?
Yeah, he's going to look.
It took a while to get going for us, didn't we? We bought him, and then he got a terrible injury. That was That was bad luck for Souness. He did actually buy a good centre half, but was never able to use him. It was only when Souness left, was sacked, that Mark Wright came into the side, and that was after about a year of Evans as well. He was out for about 2 years, Mark Wright.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Brian.
I don't. Yeah, but we go from Mark Wright. Okay.
Just saying, players can have injuries and come back.
Oh no, the guys. This guy, man. This guy. He's come to our club fit. He didn't come to our club fucking injured. He came to our club fit. I just think he's taking it a while, but it's just unfortunate he plays where Salah plays. But just we were talking about our lovely direct player wants to score.
Is it unfortunate? I mean, right now, it might be a fortunate thing because this is just my perspective again. It could be it could be a silver lining for him in that Salah gets a lot of playing time. I know he'll provide. I'm certain that as long as he gets his fitness, he'll provide some relief for Salah on the right wing. But because Salah is such a essential player, because he plays so often, it's going to be a starter, and because it's not like you're expecting him to be the starter over Salah. It gives him a chance to get that fitness back, maybe, to get back in
Well,
tip
yeah,
top.
fortunate for us,
Yeah,
unfortunate for him.
fortunate for us. Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, if he wanted to be a starter every game, but no, it's just you see the guy when he comes on, he's so eager. He just wants to play, he wants. But yeah, it's just a guy that looks like he's born to play football, born to get on the ball, run the people, and try and create chances.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he ain't the player he was because he's done his ACL, so nobody is. But I don't think it's been, like I said earlier on, if he stays fit, like
We have
he
a real
hasn't
player in our
been
hands.
on.
Yeah.
The worst thing that will happen is you'll get your money back. Sampdoria will give you 20 million quid, or some AC Milan will give you 15 million quid if after a year it's not quite working out, but he's fully fit. Like not, you don't want to look at it in that kind of way, but everything I've seen him on the pitch, I think, I think he's fantastic. I think he's a great little player. I love watching him play, so hopefully see more of it. He brings an energy. He brings a real energy to it that you don't normally see from. You think of an Italian player, you think like a Tonali, a midfielder. You think maybe a defender. You don't necessarily think of a winger in England. It's very rare to have had an Italian winger in England, or else you think of the archetypal striker. But he's a bit of a breath of fresh air. I think the fact he's played in Germany as well. He moved abroad when he was younger.
The last
He has a
outright
different
winger I remember from Italy was Attilio Lombardo at Crystal Palace, possibly. Benito Carbone, he could play right and left, couldn't he, at the midfield? Di Canio was more of a central player, wasn't he? And he could play as a winger, but he ended up being more of a striker, didn't he? Di Canio in the Premier League for Sheffield Wednesday and West Ham.
Yeah. Not many Italian wingers really, full stop. To be honest with you, they don't really. Not something they create. But he's a great. To me, he just looks a bit different. He looks. He looks like. Do you remember when Diaz came in first, and Diaz just started like a train? He was just taking people on, running at people, trying things, shooting. He's just reminded me of that. Obviously, with the delayed start, but as soon as you see him come on the pitch,
what would you say is their wheelhouse now for this? This is a question just off of what you just said, and what Lee just said as well, and that is like, for instance, for here in America, I know that Kevin was just speaking on North America, and here at least in the US of A, for a good time we were more of a, at least when it came to shipping out our talent, at least to the world, it was more so we were like a goalkeeper factory in essence, like, as in that was something that when you thought about, when the names, if we were to get those opportunities, we were probably the goalkeepers were more so than not the names. We certainly have broadened that horizon with the presence that we have now in Italy and in England, Germany. But what would you say for Italy now? What is their somewhat, I guess you could say, wheelhouse? I know they're very versatile, but I mean, if wingers aren't their wheelhouse, then what would you think, Brian?
Well, they've never been a team. They've never been a country that produces wingers, without a doubt. It's because
inside forwards, maybe like Rivera and people like that. You could say maybe even wingers with Italy, couldn't you? There's been a load like that, or like
because it used to be
forwards.
I used to be defenders. I agree with Red Armchair supporter. It used to definitely be. I mean, Bastoni is still a highly rated player for defense, but it used to be you could certainly get a good DM, or maybe even a good good midfielder, or at least a good defender.
Yeah, they're renowned for.
That's the better word for it. What are they renowned for, rather than say,
Yeah, they're renowned for their defenders first and foremost. They've never been a team or country because they play narrow. a lot of the time. They play narrow. They don't have wingers. They kind of bring in wingers. They have had them again, broad strokes here. They'd always have classy number 9s, goal scorers, kind of, but it was always built from the back. So DMs and defenders. But right now, Italy's in a lull as a country, so they're not really right now. There's no one like if I say, "Oh, defenders or DMs," people say, "Oh, well, name 3 world class Italian defenders right now," because they're not in a great period themselves. But yeah, like typically historically, it's defenders. 100%, it's defenders, and then I would say kind of maverick number 9s, the Baggios of this world, great goal scorers, and then your midfield controllers, the likes of Pirlo and people like that. But yeah,
because I would say I also thought like they, I do Balotelli was my guy. I definitely was a Balotelli fan. Luca Toni was a fan. I was a fan of Luca Toni as well. Like just as you said,
9s, Maverick number 9s. Maverick number
Roberto,
9s. Toffee, Del Piero, Gio, Cassano was another one like that. I suppose Ravanelli and Inzaghi were more goal scorers, weren't they?
Well, that's what the way they look at it. All you need is a strong defense and a goal scorer, and you win a game. That's the way they look at the game. You win it 1-0. You need a team that can lock out everything. You need a guy that can put away one chance. That's it. So they always had these number 9s, but it's still because in Italy the whole catenaccio idea of it is to an Italian purist, a perfect game of football ends 0-0.
Yeah.
That's the way. That's a perfect game. So they look at defenses first. So
the one that won the World Cup in '82 was quite good defensively. I think Shiraya was still in the team then. Cabrini might have been in the team then, but by that time at left back, they had a good defense.
That's why Chiesa was so popular with them. That's why Chiesa is so popular. He's a bit different.
Yeah.
That's why Chiesa, when he burst onto the scene, was so popular because he was a little bit different to the usual. He's not the kind of guy they normally. That's why he was very. He was a like. They'd be playing central midfielders and strikers out wide and stuff like that. So when he came along, he was a real breath of fresh air kind of in Italian football. That's why he was so popular, and everyone liked him so much because he just wasn't the norm. He was like a Spanish kind of winger more than anything.
They preferred like wide midfielders more than wingers, didn't they? Really, like they'd have like a right-handed midfielder rather than a right winger, wouldn't they? More often than not, down the years, Italy.
Yeah, and fullbacks.
Still very good players.
Yeah. This is a question. This is just interesting.
Part of the system. Yeah.
They get their width from their fullbacks a lot. The likes of Zambrota, these kind of guys. More that kind of area. That's where their width would come from. Would be the fullbacks.
Yeah, I used to like. I remember we had links. It was links, but it never really amounted to it. But El Shaarawy.
Yeah.
I thought I liked him as a player.
He had a worldie in him. One of those players. He always had a very Shaqiri type guy, wasn't he? Like
exactly. That's maybe that's the reason why I liked. And he had like a crazy haircut too.
Yeah. Oh, him and Nainggolan. I remember him and Nainggolan were in the same team for AC Milan.
Yeah.
That was just that was crazy.
Yeah. But yeah, there are some There's a question. It's an interesting question. Thank you for enlightening us all to the panel and to the chat of your answers. That's pretty cool. Let's see.
I'd quickly I saw
Bernie's name. Yeah. Okay. Do Dara, and then I'm gonna bring up Bernie's comment.
Just quickly, I would say very much so. Yeah, with the managers have been much more successful overall, but I think out of the whole thing, player, manager, yada yada, the best Italian to play in the Zola Zola was a genius in the Premier League.
Yeah,
he was amazing in the Premier League. Now he joined late, and he did try and become a manager. He was amazing. So was Vialli.
I love watching
Ravanelli
Zola.
was brilliant. Yeah, Zola was one of the best players. Full stop.
Yeah.
Full stop.
I think
Di
actually
Canio was
Klinsmann was
brilliant.
the next best foreigner performer. We'd had other big names, but Hullet wasn't here in his pomp. Like Hullet was pretty much over as a player by the time he got here, and then become a player manager. We didn't see the best of Hullet, but we did see the best of Zola, and we saw the best of Klinsmann. I'd say after Klinsmann was the biggest foreign star, he was the first one in '95, and then Zola and whatever it was.
Yeah, Zola kind of changed the perception, though, that a small technical player could thrive in the Premier League, paving the way for the likes of Juninho and then people like that from then on in. But yeah, Zola was the real deal. He was as good a player as any of the managers were managers, even bearing in mind a Ranieri title winning side. I think Zola was rightly the Premier League legend, and he was 30 by the time he got here. So, I mean, I love the guy, I adore the guy, and he played for Chelsea. So that just shows
30 when he got here, and he still did what he did. Yeah, 30.
He was basically 30.
Wasn't he? Yeah, 30 when he got here.
Yeah. Like I can ignore the kit. Like he's one of those few players. He could have been wearing well, maybe not Man United, but even in a Chelsea kit, I can just stand back and just go, "What a player!"
Yeah, I love watching him. There's loads of players I love watching, but he was one of them. Opposite end of the scale for size was Carnu. I loved watching Carnu just doing his thing, his control of the ball. Brilliant.
Or apparent lack thereof.
Yeah, he'd draw defenders in with that, wouldn't he? And then get away from them. He'd think they had a chance and he'd just be off.
Yeah, they thought he was about to fall over, and then he just nutmeg one of them and just bend it into the bottom corner. It's like, what the hell?
Yeah, I'm watching him there.
Yeah, it's gonna bring up big up Abdul, by the way. Big up Abdul. Hope that you're well. Big up to Redbird joining us. Definitely big up to everyone that's joining us, and those that chill and stay for the TGIF session that we have for today. Let's see. Yes, we do need to stop drawing. Losing, I mean, like we haven't lost a game. You got to think of it this way, Abdul. We haven't lost a game other than that Forest game, which is somewhat of a blip. I don't want to say a blip. I guess I don't want to put too much disrespect for Forest. They're having a good year. And Forest has definitely played well against some of the other big teams this year. But yeah, other than Forest, we don't have any L's on our list just yet. And I hope that doesn't change anytime soon. There was this comment here by Bernie. It made me laugh a little bit. She says she knew a football manager who said that they wore their kits too tight to make them look stronger, so the shorts ended up tiny too.
Oh yeah, I remember the ridiculously short shorts. Like
So LC copied them in the late 70s. Thank God that faded out. Yeah, the we love short shorts little era of the 70s. Let's see. And then there's I think that's what I was gonna put in there. But yeah, we do have to the draws are hurting us, and I say hurting us, the draws aren't helping us, but because I know that draws have been a situation where it's hurt us in the past. Let's keep it honest and real. We've gotten draws against some different team, a couple of teams out there that we shouldn't have gotten draws against in certain years that we had campaigns that we were really making a vie for the title, and in the end, it ended up hurting us. It ended up hurting us in that if we had those 3 points, it could have been the difference of us, winning a title. And
2008-9 was such a case. We had a few home draws against sides like Hull. That was the worst one.
Yeah,
and that's what cost us when United had games in hand.
Yeah, agreed.
2009.
Agreed.
It was a shady 11 years off that waiting. It was only been 19 years.
You know what? Yeah. Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, you know what is pretty. It's been circulating, and it's been a rumor that was a while back, it was a rumor. It was a link even further back than that as well. But this Cherokee player for Lyon, right? The captain of Lyon, I believe he's captain of Lyon.
Leon.
He is a name that has popped up again as a really credible target for some reason because of he plays for Lyon, right? Or it's Lyon, correct?
Leon,
Leon.
not Leon, but Leon. Yeah.
Okay, if you want to say that, I'll say Leon. Leon.
So
okay.
Leon.
Like the film with Jean Reno.
Right.
Leon the professional.
Yeah, Leon.
That he is going. They're going through some financial issues, so
mildly.
So they are looking to make a buck or two here or there by selling some players, possibly, and they're not looking. Obviously, they're not in the position of power, so they can't necessarily ask for a king's ransom for their players. So they're just looking for something that at least they can start adding up towards helping their financial woes. And this player is one of those players that has been put out there as a possibility. Are you warming to the idea of bringing this player in, Lee? Are you warming to this idea of bringing this player in by any chance?
I wouldn't say no, put it that way. If we were able to get him and secure him for January and he could score a few goals to help us get the league, yeah, brilliant. I'm all for it.
Okay. Is there? How about for yourself, Brian? Or is there anything that really makes you think that he could be a quality addition to the team as well? What would be some things that he could really bring to the team that we're missing?
I don't know what he can bring that we're missing. I think he's quite similar to some of our other players. He's a skillful, tricky number 10 winger type guy.
Sounded more likely a couple of weeks ago, didn't it? Now we've got Chiesa and Jota back and Elliott back. It's not seeming as urgent, is it now?
Well, that's yeah. Go ahead, Brian. Finish your thought. Yeah, because at this point, that's a good point too. That Lee brought up.
He's similar to a lot. It's like what could he bring that we don't have? I'm not really sure a lot. He could be better than some. He could be better than. I don't know. He could end up being better than Diaz or Jota or Gakpo or whoever, but he doesn't really bring anything that they don't do right now. So I think the fact that Leon are in debt, yes, hugely in debt, but they also just bought a guy from Brazil who plays in exactly the same position as Cherokee. So I'm assuming he's only cost like a couple of million quid, and they're definitely going to sell Cherokee now. But yeah, look, he's a tricky left winger, number 10. Is that the obvious position in our squad that we need to fill? I don't really think so. I mean, he'd be nice to have on the books, but if that's the only, is that what you're going to put all your house money? Is just go out and try and get this guy? It's I can't see it as being a priority
until the end of the season. Jota could be fit for the rest of the season. Then maybe a midfield signing would be more prudent in terms of helping us win the title.
That'd be great if we had Diego fit for the entire season. But unfortunately, that's something that is not exactly something you would put your bet the house on.
Yeah, not exactly a given, is it? But
I don't really see him as a Jota type. I don't see him as a Jota type at all. I see him as much more like a Diaz, maybe. He's not really a central player. He's not a goal scorer like Jota's goal scorer. I don't think Cherokee is I don't think he'd be replacing. And like Lee said, Chiesa is back. Elliott is back. I think it's a bit of a nothing one. That one. If we were short, yes.
Someone that could soften the blow of losing Ryan or Alexis in midfield. Someone just to give us an extra option there might be the better signing in January if we were to make one in any area. I don't think it'll be a left back until the summer. I think Costas and Robbo will have it until the summer, and then we might see a left back.
The names that were given to us as being pictured in Friday's training were Ali, Kelleher, Yadros, and Davies as our goalkeepers, Virgil, Gomez, Kwanzaa, Nalo, Trent, Simicast, which was good to see, Robbo, Norris, also promising a youth academy player there, Norris, McAllister, Dom, Grav, Jones, Endo, Elliott, McConnell, Neone. So two more additional. I mean, McConnell's on the verge of being not necessarily considered a youth academy player, but certainly a youth academy player all the same. And then Salah, Diaz, Nunez, Diego, Danz, and Trey, Rio, excuse me, was also listed as featured player on the training pitch. So what was interesting was, I know there was a question in the chat, I think it was from Kevin, about is Diego going to be available? Most likely, if he was available on Friday, then chances are he will be a part of the team. But what was interesting about that listing was that no Tyler Morton. Okay, that is here or there. Okay, interesting. And then no Chiesa as well. So maybe they gave him a nice little run in that League Cup game. Saw that he still has a little bit of measure to get his complete fitness back. So maybe they just dialed it back. I don't know what the exact reasons why that he was held out from training. So, but yeah, those are possibly the names. Maybe we'll see him on Saturday. Hopefully, I hope that we do see him on Saturday, being in training at least, and I hope that he ends up getting a run on Sunday. But we shall see. We shall see.
I think the reason for this is that Chiesa still is on. Basically, I think this is what maybe people don't know about. A lot of us don't really know about, but everybody there will have like these specifically, obviously, like down to like when they get up in the morning kind of plans. Chiesa, because of his workload, his lack of work in preseason, his total lack of a preseason with us, will still be on a different plan, so to speak. Like he won't be in the first team training schedule. Like he will still have. I think he'll still be working off an individual tailored plan for his fitness.
Okay.
So he will miss games, or he will miss days, or he will miss it. I don't think he's just. I still think he's been worked back up. And Slot was one of the Slot things Slot mentioned. I think in that press conference was he was full of praise for his medical team.
Yeah.
In terms of, I think like something we mentioned earlier on, just not giving him, but just being honest with him, going, I could give you this player, but I'm not going to release him for another 2 weeks. It's because that's what's best. We're not. Oh yeah, if you were going to be an old school manager about and be kicking the door down, okay, he could play tomorrow. But what's best for the player is 2 more weeks. It sounds to me like there's a lot more mature decisions going on and a much more kind of a chain of command when it comes to the medical side and people in that area. Managers always come out with that whole "I'll listen to what the doctors say" kind of line. That's a line. They don't always. Sometimes if they don't like what the doctor says, they say, "Can you give me a different answer?" Because we've got Man United the weekend, or we've got Real Madrid next week, or whatever.
Right.
I think Slot has been very, very big on player welfare, and that's to his benefit as well. Because there's no point bringing back lads and then bang they're out again.
Yeah.
I think that's worked really well for us. And that to me was the biggest change early doors. And to me, it was no coincidence. Like we could basically name an unchanged team for like 8 games because nobody was injured other than like the 2 guys who had like a thing that had happened kind of thing. That was really different to what we were used to. People always been out. So they obviously got their shit together real quick on that side of things.
He praised the medical staff, didn't he? The ones who work on returns, returning players and that. Like, he gave them some praise, didn't he, the other day, Slot?
Yeah, definitely.
If you want to keep a tight squad, which I think he likes to do with minimal rotation, which he obviously likes, you need good, fit, strong, but you need luck, obviously, but you need good medical people as well.
Sure, absolutely.
You really do.
Well, you have to also
You can't have a 50 squad player. You can't have like Chelsea. You have like 50 other players just waiting there.
What's the other Dutch fella called? The Slot Heisinger. And what's the third fella called? Who's always there with them?
Good question. Oh, they're like the sort of second and third in command.
Yeah, I think he's sort of like his second in command. What's his name?
You mean the coach that was there?
Slot. Yeah, there's Slot, isn't there? There's Heisinger. There's a guy, another Dutch guy with them.
Hulshoff. That
who's
Hulshoff's the first assistant coach. Hulshoff, if you want to, I might be pronouncing it. It's like Sipke.
Yeah,
Hulshoff.
I heard the guy's name before.
He was the coach for. He was the coach for the Southampton game when when Arnie had the sideline ban.
Yeah. And he was at Feyenoord.
The other assistant coach is John. What's his name?
Heisinger.
Yeah, Heitinger. Yeah,
the ex-Everton guy. And there's there's a guy with a British name as well. It was Aaron somebody. Can't remember what the surname was. Something like Aaron Briggs. It was like.
Oh yeah. He's
showed you the four of them huddling talking together.
He's like I think what he does is like he's they call it like the first. He'll take a player and individually train him. So he's like the first team individual head development coach or something it's called or something like that. Or there's a lot of names for it. There's a lot of names and a lot of
it's all weird.
It used to be just like goalkeeping coach, assistant coach.
Klopp had a good setup, didn't he? Did he keep much of Klopp's setup, or did most of it leave Klopp's setup?
No, everyone went out.
Everyone left, didn't he? The analysis
team
left, the fitness team left, so they're all
except for the goal. I think the goalkeeping coach stayed though.
Yeah, Taffarel is still there, and the main man is still there. What's his name? Oh, the other guy. Yeah, his name. He's still there. Achterberg. Yeah, Achterberg. Yeah.
Who is it?
Achterberg. John Achterberg.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Used to be goalie for Tranmere.
Taffarel is still there as well.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently they're that highly regarded. But yeah, there's a guy whose specific job, well, not specific job, but his main job is basically to manage the young players, say the likes of Bradley, Kwanzaa, Morton, and the younger kids who are in the senior side. There's even a guy that's his specific kind of side job as well.
Is that Aaron Briggs?
I'm not sure who it is, but there'll always be there's even a guy who that's his thing.
Mm-hmm.
There's a guy who it's like they look after, because that was a thing that would have come up, like younger players going from straight to having to be like in front of the big boss. Now it's like they give him like a kind of an in-between cushion kind of thing, even to make it, nice job for somebody. But yeah, it's like you're a guy who specifically kind of you're designated to make sure the Neonis and the Kwanzaas and the Bradleys are handling the transition properly from being mainly under 23s. So without just getting lost in the big pool. Without they might feel like they have a problem, but they can't go to Rafa, they can't go to Klopp. But he's their boss now. There's now a guy in between where they can go to them who know him. It's all set up. Like, it's so structured now for these kids, to get the best.
I also think
everything really.
Yeah, so structured. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, just to make it.
Was he the one that was in? Was he the one that was? Because there was an interview that they did for the youth academy, and like he was sitting there speaking on the sense of like he was telling how the structure is with the youth academy and how like all of them are on the same wages and like when they come in about their cell phones not being able to be brought into like into the the lunch hall and like stuff like that. Like as in, is that who you're speaking on? Maybe that individual.
Oh, no. There'll be an office. There'll be a guy who that's his job, if you know what I mean. There'll be like, yeah. No,
Okay.
there'll just be someone who's that's now a position that wouldn't have existed before. Because you can imagine going from like being a young kid where you get a lot of attention from your coach, and next thing you know, you go up to the first team, and you're the manager is now the top guy at the whole club. So they put these layers in place now to make it easier for people to kind of assimilate and to transition from one level to another.
Yeah.
But I see, Revenite. I just have one question, Revenite. I know what you're saying. I know you're.
What's the question? What's the comment? Or is it a bad comment?
It's a Revenite comment. So
Okay.
he said, I was talking about Slot. He's saying, nice thinking, Brian, but Arne Slot can't save Jota and Chiesa. They are broken beyond repair.
Oh,
I mean,
that's not. I mean, the same way that you're going through your own, personal things and such. You said that you're like been a tough few months with your diet, got injured, end of summer, and it disrupted you sadly. Like, as in, we have faith in you. We have belief in you, Reverend Knight. You can do it. Same. I mean, like hold a little faith for these players as well. That's what we're trying to. I think that's the essence of what we're saying. You're a red, brother. Like, as in, have faith, have hope, and good things will happen. Only good things will happen for you. So, like, we believe that your journey is going to be a good one, and that you're going to get to it. So yeah, and like, even if it's your only injury, it's still part of your history. Like when you get injured, it becomes a part of your history, despite the fact that it might not be something that has been a recurring thing or the likes, but it's something. The point is, just have faith. Just have a little faith, and hope for the best. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But all the same, I'm not saying that you're thinking negative. I'm just saying I think that we should all think positive. That's all. And we're all wishing you the best on your journey with your fitness and your pursuit of success.
Yeah, but also broken beyond repair was a bit tough.
Yeah, that's that's why I was saying, like, broken beyond repair. If that's the case, then yeah, a player will eventually get the point and move on. I would like to say, shout out to Norm in the house. We haven't seen Norm in a while. Missed you, Norm. Definitely. Big up, shout out to Mark A as well. Big up, Mark. Yeah, we had a couple of different little quizzes and trivia sessions that your assistance would have been definitely needed or greatly appreciated on. So, but it's good to see that you're back and that you're just stopping in. Hopefully, you I know that you have probably karate class or something lined up, but yeah. But yeah, big up to everyone joining us. There was a thing too, and I did agree with what I think it was Mark A said it. Let me pull up what he said, because there was someone that you said that was still with the team, but I thought that he left as well, by the way. Yeah, I thought he left the team.
I'm not sure on Achterberg. He has been here a long time, John Achterberg. Long time.
Yeah. That's who I think that you mentioned him earlier. And then Bernie had a question.
Yeah, we're talking about him earlier.
Yeah. Who was the goalkeeping coach that left with Stevie G? I do remember that happening, but I don't remember who it was. I remember that Stevie did poach one of the some of the staff.
Yeah. Well, we know that Taffarel stayed. We were talking about Taffarel definitely stayed because
He was brought in when
Well,
like right around when Peter
Klopp brought him in. Klopp
right,
brought him
but
in.
I was
Yeah.
saying that he's brought in right around the time that we got the young Brazilian goalkeeper, Peter Luga, I believe his name is.
Yeah.
Peter Luga. Peter's
Yeah, but
Luga.
also Taffarel would be a bit of an icon too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know.
Absolutely. Definitely. Brazilian legend for sure.
Yeah.
Big up, Philip. Big up.
Yeah,
Got a
no,
nice little
Actorberg
project on
might
us.
well be gone. It might well be gone.
What's
Actorberg,
that?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Actorberg might
yeah.
well be gone. Yeah,
I
he's
think
been
he
there
is.
for like
He's been there for a while, but I think he left. I think he did.
at least 10, I would say maybe 15 years, maybe.
Yeah, he was there
He's been there a long time. Yeah.
Pre-flop.
Yeah, he was almost one of the most highly rated. I know he got a lot of slack from fans. Like every time, like I mean, one of our goalkeepers would make a mistake in the game, and then you'd have people slagging off John Achterberg. What the fuck is wrong with these people? He's one like he's always been like one of the most highly rated goalkeeping coaches out there.
Tell you he was
Always.
He was rated as a good keeper in the PL, but I don't know why. Mark Bosnich. Man United even bought him from Aston Villa. I just never rated him. Mark Bosnich, the Australian goalie.
Interesting. Very interesting. Still, I heard on one of the channels that we have been this whole thing with Robbo, and again, I don't know why people were thinking that Simicast might start against Spurs. I guess it all depends on where he is with his fitness. Obviously, he is training, so hopefully the knock that he sustained in that Fulham game is behind him. But and I don't know exactly if Simicast is more fit or vice versa. So who knows if or even if we're going to possibly even play. I mean, I don't think we're going to play Gomez at that left back position because I don't think this is the game to test out Kwanzaa in. But there's been some talk, and we're going to have a preview tomorrow for the upcoming match on Sunday as well. But there's some talk about a possible additions, and two of those additions could be from Bayern Munich, and one of them, I don't know if they would do it in January, by the way, because then it would basically maybe say that they're trying to make a couple of dollars here or there and cut their losses because the player is certainly going to potentially leave on a free, and that is Davies is a possible target now, a credible target. It's one that keeps being put out there. Let me see. I can tell you who exactly said the thing too as well. Let me move this over actually. But there is Davies and another name that popped up that from Bayern Munich that is in the last 18 months of his deal. He's not in the last year of his deal. He's in the last 18 months of his deal. And that is Musiala. I know that maybe if our friend and certainly fellow Red of the channel, or fellow Red and friend of the channel, I should say, Quasi, is huge on Musiala. But he's been a link that's been out there as someone. Now, the Musiala one, I was engaging with the panel that was bringing this up, and I was saying how that's kind of a dream at this state because that's at least 100 some. That's like us going for that's like on the lines of us going for like a Florian Wirtz. Would it be a great addition? Absolutely, but is it going to cost you 120 million or something like that? Probably so. Even with a year and a half left on this deal, with when it comes to Musiala at least. But Davies, a little bit different story. Davies is on the last. He'll be in a couple of weeks. He'll be able to openly converse with teams, considering he's in the last He's coming up into the last 6 months of his deal, very similar to our big three. Is it worth going after Davies in your opinion? Kevin was talking about my neighbors to the north. He is one of them.
Make more sense wages wise. We could get Jonathan David, couldn't we? Probably on less wages, but Alphonso Davies would be quite a lot of wages, wouldn't he? But he's free, so there wouldn't be a fee. Maybe we could afford the wages if we're not paying a fee.
Okay.
So not completely ludicrous thought. It just seems less likely out of some of the mooted deals because of his big wages. I don't know. Yeah, that's the thing with him not costing anything. Could go in his favour. Maybe he could be seen as a successor to Robbo.
Okay. What do you think, Brian?
Yeah, I'll talk now. I think Robbo.
And it's all because of the Robbo talk. Yeah, the Robbo talk.
Robbo is going to be replaced. Everybody will be replaced. Robbo is close to being replaced, I would say. I don't see him being replaced with a 27-year-old Anthony Robinson. That would cost maybe 40. I think that's a little bit of kicking the can down the road, a tiny bit, even though, he stays for 3 years. You win 2 titles with him. Who gives a shit, right? But that's how I think. Not how the club might think.
The idea is to buy a fullback in the early 20s, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't see us doing a Alphonso Davies massive free transfer. Big time player, big signing on fee, big wages, and potentially 2 years down the line, Barcelona want him, Real Madrid want him. He's, to me, again, I could be wrong. I don't know, but to me, he seems like maybe one of those kind of players. When you could, to me, it seems a much more likely thing to spend the same that would cost you to buy an Anthony Robinson on a Milos Kerkez or, other guy from Holland or Germany that we've never even heard of yet. That the boys are out there going, this is the guy we need. The boys in the office are going, this is the guy. I don't see us doing the Robinson deal because of the age and the price. I don't see us doing the Alphonso
I don't
deal.
think he's not going to be cheap.
No, I think he'd cost you around the same as Kerkez would. We talked about this earlier. I think Robinson would cost you about 40 million. And I think Kerkez would probably cost you around 35 million as well.
Yeah.
So I don't think it'd be like one would be 80 and one would be 30. I think you're probably talking about the same price. So then you go towards the Kerkez thing. I just think that the Alphonso Davies one, wages. It's not a very Liverpool kind of thing. I'd love to be proved wrong, and he comes in and he tears the place up. Yes, please. Love to be proved wrong, and we eat the money. We take the thing and we give him the wage. But the one I was looking at, you might be moving on to. There's another guy that's free in the summer. He's a Canadian with a very similar name, who I don't think will cost as much in terms of wages. He currently has 17 goals and 5 assists in France this year. Jonathan David, he's going to be on a free as well. That's more. I'd like us to look at a deal like that, perhaps, rather than an Alphonso Davies, who I think would be looking for all the money. Like Mo Salah type money.
Huge wage, wouldn't it?
Kind of thing.
Yeah. He'd be on.
I could be wrong.
I was going to say, and why? I know he's on good wages now. He's definitely on good wages now already. Yeah. But why would you think that too? And also, I mean, you're talking about 2 different players. I mean, Jonathan David is a forward, and obviously,
okay, yeah, completely different player. No, I just mean if I was looking,
they're both Canadian. They're both Canadian. You can say that.
No, if I was looking at a free, I do him because it would be, you'd be paying a bit extra. No, just the premium of a. No, see, that's what I said. I could be completely wrong about Alphonso Davies. I just have it in my head. He's looking for big money. He's turned down big contract. He wants to go to Real Madrid. So, I'd be happy to find out he only wants 200 grand a week. Only, as they say, but he'd sign off for 5 million quid, 200 grand a week. Come in, rip it up. Brilliant, man. You're welcome.
Let me add some statements from the chat here to the conversation. Revenite's got a question. He asks, would you take Davies on 200K?
Just answered it. Yeah, I said I'd take him.
Yeah.
If he came in and said 200K, yeah.
Yeah, definitely on that.
Yeah. We were talking about Henderson. Oh, we're talking about Robbo too, because Norm brought up some good parts, and Redbird's also commenting with us in the chat. Let me see if I can bring up his initial comment over here. It says Robbo still has a lot to offer. He has just been overplayed by Scotland. I asked him. I'll ask you on the panel what you think about it, because I'll bring up his answer as well, and also Redbird's contribution. Do you think that maybe Robbo, because Robbo's definitely going to take the Scotland team if they make it into the World Cup, you know?
Dangerous.
What's that?
I was sorry, I just saw something. No, go ahead. I was just reacting.
I think if they go to the World Cup, he'll definitely be the captain to take them to the World Cup. But if they don't make the World Cup, maybe do you sit down with Robbo and say, hey, Scotland's not going to go. Maybe this is the opportunity for you to, refortify yourself in your club, in your club career, and to maybe pass the mantle on to someone else in the Scotland team so that they can take that next stage with the Scotland team, and maybe that revitalizes his engine, or his tanks.
It does extend his career a bit, but he's not going to stop playing for Scotland, is he? He's one of Scotland's biggest players, if not their biggest player, any profile-wise, and he loves playing for Scotland. I don't think he's going to step down. I don't think Virgil is either. I think Virgil will play on till the next World Cup.
Yeah. Yes, we do. Owen Beck does play left back for us too. I'm going to get into that as well. We'll go back into more of the Davies things, but this is all just left back talk, I guess. Can you say? What do you think? Big up, the streets have arrived. By the way, I'm sorry, I get excited when I see the streets.
I like the idea of the Kirkhead deal because he's 23, and I like what I've seen of him for Bournemouth this season. I think he could do better in a better side. I think he could do well on a better side.
Yeah, what do you think, Brian? Is that what we're just saying?
All I will say is that if I'm a professional footballer and I'm lucky enough to be able to represent my country, nobody's going to tell me when I'm going to stop paying for my country. I'll decide when I stop paying.
Right.
He is all those things you talk about, a proud Scotsman. Well, you got to take, we don't like them playing because it suits us for them not to play. No, look, I didn't like that comment from Redbird. I thought if anybody has overplayed Robbo, it ain't Scotland. That's all I'll say on that one. He's had to do a lot of work for us, and he's done it well.
He has.
Let's just leave.
Are you? So wait, I don't know if we want to make. I don't know if we want to go there then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, look, if Robbo
decides to hang up his boots,
he'll hang up his boots. That's when he decides to hang up his boots. Let him hang up his boots for Scotland, Liverpool, whatever it wants to be, whatever it needs to be. Let him do it when he wants to do it, because he'll know. He won't. You can't tell a country not to call a player up as long as because they only call him up if he declares himself available.
Right.
So
he loves playing. He loves captaining Scotland. Don't forget, he was playing for Hull before he was playing for us. But he's a massive player for Scotland, and he loves being their captain.
Right. I was going to correct him, Redbird. Don't worry, I got you. I got you back. Yeah, it wasn't Redbird that said it. But
sorry, Redbird. I do apologize.
Yeah. It's all good. It's all good. But yeah, I get. I just think that it would be fantastic to see Davies. I'm a big Davies fan when it comes to at least seeing him as a Red, not as seeing him as a Canuck. But because for other reasons, obviously. But when
okay.
Yeah, because
it was Norm. It was Norm. No, it was Norm. Yeah. Sorry, Norm. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, Redbird. Sorry, Norm. Yeah.
But what I was just getting at with Davies is that he is an immensely incredible, talented player. I don't know if his heart is really into being a left back, to be honest with you.
No.
Like I'm just being
That's
honest
what
with
I
you.
hear.
One of the things that he wanted to do was make a transition to being a left winger. And I'm like, if you think you're getting to go into Real Madrid and going to be a left winger, good, more luck to you. You know, that's just probably not happening. You know, you're not taking over the spot from Mbappe or even Junior or any of those players that at that spot. But and I think that you are a talented player. I just don't think that you'll see them do that. But even more so with the Davies comment, I don't think he brings also the defensive structure that we're all asking for in that back line with that left back role. There's people that
Oh no, this guy clearly wants to be Roberto Carlos or something, right? He wants to be, top end of the pitch kind of stuff. By the sounds of it,
yeah. And that's why, like, I don't know if it sounds like it definitely, if I'm playing FIFA, it sounds like a great option because there's not much thought into it. But if it's me putting it into, like, maybe if it was the Anfield Cup or something, maybe I would I'd pick him up and utilize him as a player. But for
because you famously did so well in the Anfield Cup.
Yeah, I know exactly. I got Kane.
Your
That's because Kane let me down.
Your
Kane and Haaland let me down in there in that tournament. Well, I'll choose better next time. But yeah, Kirkez, as Crab is saying, or Robinson is his choice. We can go a quick if we are going to do a stage. I'm not saying that Robbo is done or that we need to move on from him. I definitely think we need to figure out a succession plan, certainly, because Father Time is undefeated. So if you want in the chat, please do put who you would have as your choices. That's okay. I got you. Actually, I did see an interesting interview with Trent, if you want to as well. I saw, so there's Men in Blazers, right? One of the guys from Men in Blazers did an interview with Trent, and he did ask him a question about, like, he did ask some questions and sometimes a little bit of leading questions to try to get maybe an answer out of him. He said something about legacy. He said something about legacy in one of his answers, and about having, like, he wants to be the greatest, known as the greatest right back of all time, if that's possible, and also about leaving a legacy and leaving a mark. And he believes that at this stage, because the question was somewhat oriented towards, you've won pretty much everything that you can win at Liverpool. Like, so what is your next ambition? What is the ambition that you still hold as something that you want to accomplish? And he was saying his biggest ambition is to leave a legacy. What was interesting about that answer, and it got Twitter buzzing a little bit, that answer, is that I don't know if he creates a legacy if he goes to Real Madrid. And that's why it kind of got the Twitter verse buzzing a little bit. It's certainly, if he were to stay here and win another Champions League or win another title, multiple titles in either Champions League or even the Prem as well, that is certainly creating a legacy. I don't know if he creates a legacy as a Real Madrid player. Am I alone in thinking that, or do you think that as well? Tell us in the chat too, by the way. Am I alone in that?
No, you're not. I think the same.
Okay, well, it's as simple as simple does. Yeah. How about for you, Brian? And again, you can tell us in the chat too. what you feel. I'm not trying to drum up anything against what, their personal feelings towards Trent, but I'm just trying to get across that I think that's really like the essence of what, if I was one of his advisors, I know he's heavily advised by his brother and his family, but that's just something I would mention. I'd say I don't know if you really create a legacy.
Well, you see, that's an incredibly personal thing to say,
Mm-hmm.
because basically Trent says, I want to create a legacy, right? So whether you say, the only way you can say that he would or wouldn't do that is by asking him the question, what for you is a legacy? What
Mm-hmm.
is the legacy that you want for yourself? Because he said he wants to leave a legacy. Well, what is the legacy he wants to leave?
Mm.
Like, to us Liverpool fans, yeah, he's stained his legacy,
Mm-hmm.
but he may have a very different idea of what that legacy
That's
is.
true. That's
So
very
that's,
true. That's very true.
yeah, I'd ask him, what do you mean by legacy? Because he's left it, that whole thing, like, I want to win a Ballon d'Or.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, do you want to win that at Liverpool, or do you think you need to leave to win that Ballon d'Or? He didn't get asked that question, so he just gets to make these big statements.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
because, like, for everybody, to me, unless he starts slagging off the club or does anything bad against the club, the fact that he's grown up here as a kid, won everything there is to win, won a Champions League, won everything, given everything, even if he was to leave, I think he still has a incredibly strong legacy here. If he does it all respectfully, he's always does everything being respectful. I don't see, again, legacy is one of those things. So you'd have to ask him what he means by legacy. Does it mean going somewhere else and winning and becoming like a European player that went from Liverpool to Madrid and won everything there and won everything here? So it'd be really interesting because he's getting away with a lot in these interviews. He's getting to bring out statements without getting asked the difficult follow-up questions.
Yeah, they're definitely puff pieces.
Yeah,
Definitely.
he's not getting asked those kind of the ones that we'd say. It's like the typical thing is that when you go, I want to do this with my career, I want to do this. Us as fans is like, yeah, but like, do you want to do that here or do you want to leave?
Yeah,
Because that's the elephant in the room question. And he's
yeah,
just like, well, sure, the sky will be blue tomorrow. And fuck off, Trent. It just give us an answer, dude. Are you staying or are you going?
you're right.
We know you want to be the best. We know you want to win Ballon d'Ors. We know you want to leave legacies. We know you want to be elite. The answer the thing we want to know is, are you fucking off in the summer? That's
Yeah,
all
yeah.
we want to know as fans.
This is kind of what I thought too. And I will bring up that those pieces that I have. I remember I had the list of from that other show that did that ranking show of the clubs and players and the likes. But this is what Norm says. I think is pretty spot on. Like, as he says, Madrid spit players out. They do not support players in tough times or poor form. And I would even go as far as to say, especially players of color as well. They tend to turn their backs on even
The
more
young
so.
are much more intense.
Yeah, they're more. It's one thing for you to be
Just ask
a
Vinny Jr.
Spanish-born player or even a Spanish-speaking player,
Yeah.
but it's a different thing if you are a player that does not hold those characteristics. But he goes on to say, and that's my statement, not Norm's statement. That's my own personal statement. But they turned on Bale, and here we helped them through it, and that is like why I was bringing that up was because, like, for instance, I one of the later graphics I'm going to bring up, when the Spurs represent the guy that was representing Spurs in this survey, I guess it's impromptu style survey that they were doing, they were asked about your best player of all time, like the player of the Premier League, at least all time best player that you have representing you. Who would you nominate as your representative, as your best player of all time in the Premier League era? And the Spurs player, or excuse me, representative, actually said Harry Kane, as opposed to as opposed to Gareth Bale. Now, Gareth Bale was humongously important for Spurs. He was a huge entity and a really incredible talent for them. But him going on to Real Madrid, him winning there and the likes, it was interesting that the guy still chose Kane, despite the fact that Kane hasn't won anything with really of note with Spurs. He left Spurs. He ended up leaving Spurs still all the same, and now he's with the Bayern Munich team that he's not necessarily winning with as well. They've turned the corner this year so far, but but it's just interesting. It's just very interesting because I think that there's a little bit of because Bale left at the time that he did, that there's a little bit of a disconnect from him because of that, despite the fact that he was an integral part of Spurs lore and history. But that's
they bought him.
Go ahead.
They bought him. They sold him. They knew he was one of the best players in the world. They knew they were never keeping hold of him. They brought him from Southampton. He wasn't one of their own. That's the whole thing with Harry Kane. They sung it for years. Harry Kane, he's one of our own. And that's when people bring up the Arsenal shirt when he was 8. That's why the Harry Kane thing is there. They sing about him. He's a Tottenham born and bred. They brought him up through the club. Gareth Bale loved that guy. They loved him. They're like, but it's like, holy shit, we've got a Ronaldinho on our hands. We're not keeping this guy. It's only a matter of how much money can we get for him. But Harry Kane thing, look, Spurs, when they have a player that's as good as either of them, they know it's only a matter of time. The fact they held on to Harry Kane that long for them was crazy. So yeah, they're used to a guy goes there, he looks good for 5 minutes and he gets sold. Doesn't happen often, by the way, but they're used to people leaving. I just think it's to me, I still think that a lot of this comes down to the fact that Trent is leaving on a free. I think if we got 150 million for Trent and he came out and said, I've won everything there is to win and walked away, I think the fact that he's leaving on a free is impacting a lot.
Well, that's what Norm was saying too. I'm not going to interrupt you too much. I was just going to say that's what.
No, you can finish. I said, he said it's like McManaman. Yeah. No, I think that is a lot of it. I think if he left, but we had the whole kind of, oh well, look, it is what it is, and we got 100 million.
Right.
It is what it is. We got 90 million, but we're sitting there left with nothing. And he's going off, and we're just sitting there going, "Well, okay."
I
think that's sticking. I think that's sticking in a lot of people because they're kind of saying, "Why didn't you just say maybe in the back? Why couldn't you just sell it? If you knew you were going to leave, why didn't you just sign?
Why didn't you just say that? Yeah, 2 years ago, or just sign,
and then we would got 80 million for you now, and you could have left.
Right. I think that also says volumes about one. Real Madrid understand and know their appeal and understand their global brand and position of power when it comes to players, to be able to say to a lot of these players, yeah, you can play here. We'd love to have you a part of the club, but we're not going to spend money on you. We're not going to go out of our way to spend money. They could have went for Mbappe, and they even made a cheeky offer for Mbappe, and it's like one of those cases where it's like, but we don't have to. You want to join us, not vice versa, obviously.
Yeah, it does feel like you're getting pickpocketed a bit when it's one of your best players, or even for nothing, like McManaman did. Did ostensibly own left for nothing, didn't he?
There was also a comment too. It was this morning that I saw this angle being pushed out there, and I'm trying to think if it was. I think we did have a representative on, at least in the conversation, if loosely put, at least, but there was someone in the conversation. And the two rivals, I think one was for the rivals were, one was for Chelsea and the other one was for represented Arsenal. They were pushing this narrative of Stevie G was figuratively speaking, obviously, held at gunpoint to stay. He was threatened. He was, he was told that, he only stayed at Liverpool under duress and despite his own wishes to possibly explore going to a different club. At the time, I know that it was going to possibly even be Chelsea. That was going to be his destination as a club. And I know, but there were parts and points where even Real Madrid had inquired about his services. There were there was reports about other big name clubs that inquired about possibly bringing Stevie G to their team. I also know that Stevie G has made comments to say that it was the best decision that he made, despite not winning, obviously, a Premier League title, which was one of his ultimate goals to do for not only himself but also for the city of Liverpool. But I don't know, Brian. I'm sorry, I got sidetracked. I saw the doctor's comment to me.
The Red House of the city, maybe.
There was that now.
No, Stevie wanted to win this for the city of Liverpool.
Yes,
for the Red House. The Red House.
Maybe.
Yeah, the Red House. Maybe.
Exactly.
A few grumpy faces.
Right. But it was interesting because they kept pushing it and pushing it, like, oh yeah, like, what you're doing with Trent is similar to Stevie, and that, like, you're trying to force him to
set
stay.
Him free. Set him free.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, there you go. And I was like,
he's only won a Champions League. He's only won a Premier League. He's only won pretty much everything there is to freaking win.
Mm-hmm.
How can you cage this little bird?
Yeah, and on top of that, you could even say this too. Stevie did end up leaving Liverpool to go and pursue other aspirations in life. So he ended up going to LA too. It was pretty cool to see. I mean, like, it was an opportunity to see him play here in America. So I was excited about that. Yeah.
Yeah, just in LA, didn't he?
Yeah.
A little holiday in the sun.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. A couple of million quid a week or a couple of million quid a year to that was back in the day, Stevie will be thinking this is as good as it's going to get, as an older player.
Mm-hmm.
32, 33, go out to America. They make it a what do you call marquee player, get the big money.
Mm-hmm.
Nice lifestyle. Never thinking, maybe you could do the Qatar thing. Never thinking, like, he's earning more, multiples more as a manager in Saudi than he's ever earned as a player.
Yeah,
ever earned.
Yeah.
Like the idea that he would have been going out to LA thinking, nice few quid now, and come down with your top up the bank balance now, 8-10 million quid. Not a retirement home, but it's not the Premier League. Nice lifestyle, good for the family. Next thing you know, he's over in fucking Saudi getting paid 20 million quid a year.
Exactly.
He's like, you can see, like, I think why some of these players, obviously they get their heads turned, but now you can see why a lot of them, like you were speaking earlier, I missed it as you were coming in. If you want to talk about it again, the rumor about Bobby Firmino going to is it Galatasaray, right? To play for Firmino.
Is Galatasaray okay? I thought it was a different. You're right, though. You're right. To go coach.
Go play for Marino.
Yeah, go play for Marino. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a Gala. Yeah, that would be crazy. I still think Bobby. I've always thought, Fabinho, his legs are gone. His time is up. It's been shown. Hendo, exactly the same thing. Legs are gone. Time was up. I think Firmino left way too early. I thought Firmino could have gone to an Inter Milan when he could have left Liverpool. Yeah, 31, but he didn't need to get. He still had 2, 3 years. I thought at the top level. I could have seen him go and playing like for a Champions League club in Italy easily.
Still
Napoli,
scored
Inter Milan,
goals
someone like that.
to the end, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think I'd love to see him.
Didn't he?
Football, lads. Football is a very, very, very strange sport. You never say never. We could be watching Bobby Firmino in the Premier League next year, playing for Everton, playing for Southampton, playing for Wolves, something. He just gets the taste. He wants to come back and play proper football. Never say never in football. He's not that old. He's not 38. You know, he's gone out there.
You agree? I was putting it out there long before he left. I said even that summer, going into his last year with us, actually, being that those last 2 years were kind of rough for him with the injuries that he was starting to pick up more routinely. But obviously with the high impact, high intensity that the Klopp system demands, it wasn't easy. But I was saying out there that, like, you know what? I know we don't play this system, play a 4-3-3, but I mean, I really, really was thinking that if we did entertain the idea of going to a 4-2-3-1, I could see Bobby being a viable asset as a 10, considering he has an incredible passing range. We all know that he's excellent when it comes to the counter press. His football IQ is next level. I was hoping that we could have utilized him as a 10, but we just never got the opportunity to see that. So
he got a financial opportunity that he wasn't going to turn down.
Yeah,
but I still think he's like I say, he's still. You look at the likes of Vardy, people, Gabby Jesus, people like that are still, having strong Premier League careers. Chris Wood, these people getting well into their 30s. I think not necessarily for us. I think he would still do actually a good job for us. But, fully fit Bobby Firmino still right now. I think he left too early. I mean, he left, go do your thing, but yeah, I can see him. Even Gala to me is probably a little bit too low. I just wanted to go and I wanted to see him play for Inter Milan. Basically, him playing behind Lautaro Martinez. Oh, yes, please. He's got all of it. But yeah, that's not our age profile. But yeah, definitely went too soon. And we know what football is like, man. Don't be surprised if you see him playing for a random Premier League club next year or whatever, because they offer him a nice deal.
It'd be strange to see Bobby
it'd be very strange to see him in another kick in the Prem. I mean, like this, I'd
love it though. I wouldn't begrudge it.
And he might return. It would have been weird seeing Sadio in another team's.
I wouldn't begrudge him. I wouldn't begrudge him.
Southampton.
I wouldn't begrudge him if they wanted to come back, and I would never hold it against him. And again,
I wouldn't
alone. If Bobby Firmino signed for Manchester United, we might have a conversation.
Didn't hold it against Rafa going to be Everton manager. It was a job there with a decent wage, whatever, and he took it. Didn't work out for him, but I didn't hold it against him.
Yeah, sure. Rafa did everything. Man, Rafa went to. He didn't just do Everton. I don't care about the fact that he went to bloody Chelsea. He pretty much. He probably would have. Rafa would have taken the United job if it was offered to him. Bro, Rafa didn't give a shit, man. Rafa really didn't give a shit.
There was remember we did speak on. I know that Pops asked or questioned if I really would take Bale over Kane. If it meant getting Bale on our team so that he didn't do what he did in that Champions League against us, absolutely.
It's a tough one. Kane.
Oh my gosh, that was heartbreak.
But Bale actually went that extra level and won the Champions League.
He was a beast.
Not to
Congratulations on not getting an answer on that one, Pops.
Kane is at a club that can win the Champions League. We're not capable of winning the Champions League, so he might get one himself.
No, he won't. But anyway, Anyway,
I
why I
wouldn't be.
brought that up was because I mentioned how there was a show I watched. It was a good show too. Good effort or good show. Good. I like everyone's efforts or any content that they put out there. Good effort. It got a little bit hectic at times. So because there were so many people involved, I know I do have a little PTSD from that Champions League final. Tough. That was a tough final to lose. Oh man, that was a tough final to lose. Especially the way that he scored. The goal that he scored was an absolute incredible goal too against us. But now he got me thinking about it. But anyways, let's get.
Bevanite commented about Dyche isn't he a Liverpool fan? He has confessed to having a liking for Liverpool years ago when he was a young man.
Yeah.
He didn't necessarily say he was an avid Liverpool fan, but he said, "Oh yeah, I used to be into watching Liverpool." Or something like it was as strong as that anyway. So
I don't know about that bonkers. I don't know about the Nico Williams thing, but I will say this. What I was referencing and about the Bale being chosen by the Spurs.
Yeah, can I just say actually? Yeah,
you ended up. Did you end up watching that one?
100%, 100% Revenite, 100%. I can imagine Pops's face. And it wasn't even that difficult. I was just thinking that was like, Jesus, you honestly, seriously, just run for governor or something, and we can go and take over.
No, you know why? Because I know people really value Kane. I liked Bale. I thought Bale.
No, I was just saying. It was just the Bale thing. It's like, would you take Kane or Bale? And like, well, I'd take Bale if it meant that he didn't score against us. It was just like,
yeah. That was
such a
my way
slippery
of
answer.
answering it. Yeah.
So slippery. I was just like,
whatever.
Yeah, so slippery. I mean,
tell me, would anyone? So does anyone have a problem with that answer? Really? Like, if we had Bale, then yeah, we wouldn't have had that.
No, it's just who would you take? Would you take Bale or Kane? If I was going to take him as their career over thing, I mean,
it is crazy to think that Bale started out as a left
It wasn't about
Probably
necessarily
take
legacy
Kane.
at the club. It was about your best. The question was, and I brought it up on here as well, and I'll even make sure that you can see the list here. It wasn't necessarily about legacy. It was about your best player. So as in terms of talent or just ability or the likes, who was your best player? It had nothing to necessarily do with legacy at the club.
Gareth Bale had a season. There's a couple of players. There's a few players, maybe 5, that have had individual seasons in the Premier League that are absolutely ridiculous. Luis Suarez, his 3rd season when he came back after the ban.
And if I said legacy, I misspoke. I'm sorry. If I said legacy, I might have misspoke. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, Mo Salah's 1st season at Liverpool, one of the most incredible individual seasons of all time. And Gareth Bale's last season at Spurs before he went to is one of the most ridiculous individual seasons
last season
I've ever seen.
What season was it? Was it
that'd be like 14, 15, yeah, something like that. I remember watching him, obviously playing fantasy football. Every single week that guy was getting 12 points in fantasy football. 10 points, 11 points, 9 points, 12 points, 13 points, 14 points, 8 points. That guy's last season at Spurs was like something from a video game. It was like something from Riot Rovers. He was pinging things in from 30 yards. He was scoring overhead kicks back then, volleys from outside the box. He was just
back, didn't he, to a really dangerous looking forward.
They tried to sell him. Harry Redknapp they bought him as a left back from Spurs or from Southampton. Harry Redknapp tried to sell him to somebody. I can't remember who it was, and they said, "Nah, 4 million quid. No, that's too much." A lot of people were sniffing around, but then something yada yada yada. He comes in, he gets a game on the left wing, and the rest is history. The rest is history. Then he gets the iconic game against Maicon. Maicon was the best right back in the world, other than maybe one other player. Maybe. Depending on who you ask. Danny Alves. Maicon was right up there. Gareth Bale literally retired the guy in one night. Gareth Bale made him look like a park player, twisted him, turned ridiculous. And the next thing you know, he's 100 million quid going to Real Madrid. But that last individual season Bale had, it's right up there. But then you look at what Harry Kane does, whatever. But these are Tottenham players. They're weird. They're weird people. Harry, he's a London boy. He's a London boy. Is there Harry?
Isn't he?
You know?
Isn't
Kane's voice? You know, to actually distinguish where he's from that much, like, because it's so weird.
Well, he's from the 1940s, Lee. We've established this in the past. He's a time traveler. His name is Wing Commander Harry Kane. He's come from the 1940s. He's a World War II pilot that's just pretending
World
to be
War II pilot? Okay.
Yeah, we've all seen it. He's Wing Commander Harry Kane.
I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that YouTube episode, but you'll have to pass it on.
No, it's been you put him in an RAF.
Is it hosted by our friend and fellow Red K-Mac? Is that who does the episode? Not just joking.
No, it's a classic. It's a well-known Harry Kane meme. He looks like an RAF pilot from 1940s, basically. Yeah, it's Wing Commander Harry Kane. But there
you go.
Yeah, that's him. That's him.
I can see it. I can see it. I see him at like a
Oh, it's a lot of people can see it. A lot of people can see it. He does. He has that chin on him, but he does it like these. He has that very nondescript accent. It's like that guy's from nowhere.
Palate, hasn't he? He's got a cleft palate, and it thingies his voice. Doesn't it? It makes his voice a bit weird. His cleft palate. Well,
Did not know that.
Sounds like he's got one. Yeah, there was a girl in our year in school with a cleft palate, and she sounded exactly the same. Not in accents, but the way she spoke.
Do you think that
I don't even know what that actually means, to be honest.
Do you think
that cleft in your like speaking bit, like so when you're speaking it's like
I was just gonna ask real quick, do you think that Harry Kane asked, or not him personally, but maybe he did, maybe insisted that or maybe it was Levy that insisted that the price for him be 86.6 million pounds, which ends up being 100,000 pounds more than what he got for Gareth Bale? Is that not? There's a little bit of a moment, I guess. Things that make you go It's kind of interesting.
No, I do know that Ronaldo, Gareth Bale's fee was higher than Ronaldo's. When Real Madrid bought Ronaldo, he was like 89 million or something like that.
Right.
And he was the most expensive player. And we all know how Ronaldo likes that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So when they bought Gareth Bale, they spent more on Bale than they did on Ronaldo.
Yeah.
But Ronaldo basically went to the president and said, that ain't happening.
Right.
I don't care what you're spending on him. I don't give a shit what he costs. The number that comes out in the paper is lower than my number. Ronaldo just walked in and said, you are not going to officially spend more on him than you spent on me.
Really?
That's a fact. That story is 100% fact. He just said, I don't care what you want to say. You can
he definitely did.
You can present him by launching him off the moon. You can have fucking Drake and Eminem, whatever. I don't care what you do, but you are saying that he cost 85. Because if he cost 85, he comes in under what I cost.
There you go.
That Ronaldo was like, do you want me to cause shit? He was not having it. That's the Ronaldo world.
I don't know if Harry Kane did that. That sounds more like Levy to me than Harry Kane, but it was something interesting because, like, obviously the 86.5 million in 2013 is more than the 86.6 million pounds.
Way more
for Kane today. So definitely he got more, but when you look at it and you look at the numbers and you just look at it on a piece of paper saying who's the highest,
Levy,
who's the highest transfer ever for Spurs.
I know what you're talking about there. That was not about, that was basically Levy But the point that's being made there is it's probably been lost in translation. What Levy wanted to be able to do was to come out and say, I want you to be able to give me a number that translates to 100 million euro because I want to be able to say I got 100. No, I want to be able to say I got. No, we want to be able to put down that we got 100 million for Kane. That's what they wanted, that number.
Because they're not paying in
that
pounds, they're
good.
paying in euros, right?
Yeah, they would make it 87.4. That makes it 100 million euro. Then we can put out the line that says we get, not that it's a line, but it looks a lot better. It's like it's the opposite of trying to sell something for $99.99. We know it's $100.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
No. I want to
Yeah.
put it at that 100 because it sounds more. He wanted to be put out that number. That was a Levy thing. Yes, you're correct. That's what he wanted. Whoever was mentioned there, that was he wanted to be able to pin that number. We sold Kane. But we sold him at 30 after we gotten all those goals at him. We still got 100 million for him.
That's the reason why it was interesting too. Oh man, because this is all very related to our opponent that we're going to see. We're talking about Harry Kane, talking about Levy, talking about things that you want to talk about too in the chat. Hopefully, hope you're enjoying the show. And this is what I was bringing up earlier. Let me make sure I make it so I can see it myself here, so I can see the exact. And this was the list exactly of what I was speaking on. Remember, I was saying how there was a show that did basically, they had 18. So the only two participants that weren't there were from Villa and Forest. They're the only two teams that didn't have representatives in this makeshift survey or whatever you want to call it, poll, fan poll. And what they brought is they had content creators like Anita from they're called Goal Getters or something like that. Goal Diggers, I think they're called, or something like that. She was there for Chelsea. We had Grizz Khan was there representing Liverpool. We had I'm trying to think of who else was there. I don't remember. I'm trying to remember who was there for the United person.
Just talking the entire Premier League era, this question, who has had the best player in the Premier League?
So yeah, they're asking who's had the best player in the Premier League. And they asked all the people, they said, tell us who was your best player in the Premier League. Nothing about legacy or anything like that. I know I might have said that earlier. My apologies for framing it that way. It was, who was your best player talent-wise that you've ever had in represent for your team? And what they did was you would basically go to, there's 18 numbers on the floor. You would go to the spot that you believed your player ranked in the list of players. So again, I'm trying to remember who I'm trying to remember who it was for United, who got to represent United. But Manchester United, Allison, she represented United. I'm trying to think who else. But there was I meant who represented Arsenal. That's what I was trying to think of. I can't remember who represented Arsenal. But anyway, he went to, for instance, the first spot because he said Henry. He believed that Henry is the best player ever in Premier League era, and he went to that spot. Allison went to the second spot. She represents the Red Devils. She initially said, she wanted to say Rooney, but she ended up falling on taking CR7 as her choice as being the number 2. And even though, truthfully, I think Rooney's more of a better player for them than even Ronaldo at the time, at least. Not necessarily in all of his career, because he made more of his emergence. That was at least my opinion. They made more of an emergence as a Real Madrid player than he did more so than he did as a Manchester United player. And I think Rooney was immensely important for them. But she took the number 2 spot with that. The City guy, I cannot fully remember who he said, but he went through this whole list. I think he went with Holland as being the third best player that they've had. I think that was the player he went with, or maybe even KDB. But then he ended up listing like 6-7 different players. He said Bernardo Silva. He put in there. He put in Yaya. He might even put in David Silva. But that was his choices for being the reasoning why he thought he should be in third. Now, the fourth spot wasn't held by Newcastle United initially. What it was held by was Chelsea, then fifth was Liverpool, and then sixth was Newcastle United. And how it ended up being fourth as Newcastle United, the people in the panel there, when they got to you got to everyone and you gave them a chance to say why they believe they should be there. The panel either said, oh, they should be lower or they should be higher. Anita went with Frank Lampard as being her choice solely on the fact that she thought that Grizz Khan was going to say Stevie G, obviously, as being the best player we've had in the Premier League era. And because of that, she thought that she should be where she was, right? And Grizz conceded to it. He actually wasn't making a big push for it or the likes of being in front of Stevie G, being in front of Frank Lampard. I disagree with that one. I think Stevie G is better than Frank Lampard, despite the fact that it's still very, very close. I know I'm not going to say to trigger Brian with what I was about to say, but it's very, very close. I just think that I think it goes possibly Stevie G, then Lampard, and then maybe no, I think that's the best way to do it. I think it should be Frank Lampard should be second in that list. And then maybe and then Scholes could be third if you want to put it that way. But there's a part in place of me now that's saying KDB might be there above Scholes, and Scholes might be fourth. All the same, that's where they went. When they got to Newcastle, the Newcastle guy said, obviously, sure. And when he said sure, he went on the whole spiel about him being the top goal scorer of all time in the Prem and da. And eventually, the panel that was there said that sure should be in front of Lampard and Stevie G, and that's how he got Newcastle United into fourth place. I think it was an absolute. I don't know how Stevie G gets. Stevie G, maybe it's because he represents Liverpool and because of some of the people's biases against us as a club and our players. But to me, that was just wrong. I think. I don't know. How do you feel about that? Panel, chat, tell us. Is this all wrong?
Sounds a bit spurious, the reasoning behind the placings. What, Newcastle are in fourth because of Shearer?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not having that.
Yeah, okay. All right. Not having that. All right.
Bollocks to
that. And that's a lot of the time, like people will say that the reason why Frank gets in front of in the rankings, if you're rating them, why he would get in front of Stevie was because of his goals. I just think that what Stevie did with the teams that he was doing the numbers that he was presenting and doing kind of reflect how great of a player he was. Lampard played on a lot of great teams with a lot of other great players. Stevie G sometimes had to put the team on his back. I don't necessarily. I don't know if you would say the same for Frank.
He had to drag that team pretty much, didn't he? At times when he was there, especially when all the other good players left, like Mascherano, Torres, and Alonso. He was left with not a load of shite, but after a while, he was left with a load of shite, like fucking. Some of the shit ones we brought in, like Aquilani was a failure. We bought some duds under bloody Hodgson, didn't we? Who was that? Paulson. There were players like that. Morelos did all right, but he had some bad midfielders to go hand in hand with, like at the end, didn't he, Stevie? Lampard
and him saying, and I get that sure.
And at Chelsea.
Mm-hmm. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to. I apologize for that. Say your last point so everyone can hear it again, Lee.
Lampard was playing alongside world-class players for his entire career at Chelsea, whereas Gerrard wasn't at Liverpool, especially on his later Liverpool career, not at all. Playing with world-class players in the midfield.
Yeah, agreed. And I get Pops' saying sure all-time goal scorer also won the Prem, but you had to make the argument of what he did with your team, not what he did later on with other teams. So I get that, like, as in who was your best player for your team, the player that had the best, because he ended up winning. He won a Prem, but he won it with Blackburn, if I'm not wrong. Or
right? One of our best players.
Yeah, you won with Blackburn.
Apart from Gerrard, is Mo, isn't it? Mo's got to be in there for the discussion for us. And
you know what? And he did make an argument. That was interesting because I will give Grizz respect due in that he did say that if Mo had completed his career with Liverpool, he would possibly make the argument of putting Mohamed Salah as the nominee that he would put up. But because he was still going through his career, he didn't. Fair. And then you could go, because then you could then say comments against like what Pop said about being a lazy argument about Stevie G didn't win a Prem. Well, Mohamed Salah has won a Prem. Mohamed Salah's won a Champions League with us as well. I get it's the Premier League, but still.
Yeah, Virgil's been one of our big players in the Premier League era as well.
Mm-hmm. How about for you, Brian? I see you're answering people comments in the chat too.
Yeah, I said all three. Lampard and Gerrard will tell you Scholes was way better than both of them, especially Lampard.
I refute that idea that Scholes was better.
He's saying Lampard and Scholes have both said that Stevie G is a better player than both of them.
Oh, right. I thought you were saying I think Stevie G is, he was a better player than Scholes, Scholes was good at certain things, but that's all he was. Gerrard could do absolutely everything on a pitch.
Yeah. But go ahead, Brian.
Yeah. Like I was saying, Lampard and Gerrard will tell you that Scholes was better than them. Mm-hmm. They say he was a better footballer. Lampard would be right. Gerrard, Scholes was definitely more kind of technically gifted in smaller spaces, but Scholes would say Gerrard did things that I could never have done. Scholes would say, look, anything Stevie can do with a ball, pinging it 50 yards, scoring great goals, I could do the same with my right foot. Yeah, but I couldn't have done what Stevie did in terms of dragging teams. I didn't have the force. He'd say he didn't have the force of personality that Stevie had.
Right.
That makes up your whole part as a player. Everything about you is the kind of player. Every player isn't just the same. They're completely different profiles. Like if you're Scholes would say, "Hey, look, do you think Stevie could pass the ball better than me? No, I can pass the ball as well as Stevie.
Right.
Think he can shoot better than me? No. Could I have done what Stevie did in Istanbul? No. Could I have dragged that Liverpool team to that West Ham FA Cup win? No. Probably not. Could I have, taken that club on my back the way he did? No. But Stevie would say, "Oh, look, Scholes, he was better on the ball than me. I'm good. I know I'm good. Don't tell me I'm not good. I know I'm good." But he'd say, props to Scholes. I would say now Lampard should probably say, yeah, they were both better than me, and Lampard couldn't do technically what Scholes did. he was a great goal scorer, all that stuff. But he definitely didn't have that force of nature personality that Stevie did to drag a team like us the way that Stevie did. So I think Stevie has things that, and it will be a good one because it was one of those interminable arguments that we all had to sit through. Who was better, Lampard, Scholes, or Gerrard? It's like just play them all, figure out a way of playing them all. It's not that difficult. Um, but they'd all sit in a room together and go, "Ah, no, you were better. Ah, no, you were better. Ah, no, you were better." But I think they all know that basically Stevie had a personality that they didn't. But Scholes, they'll always say Scholes was different class on the ball. Now I know that's not easy for a lot of people to admit or whatever, but he was. But he was a quiet. He never really, he wasn't a big mouthy guy or whatever. So, but Stevie just had that extra thing, that extra kind of Muhammad Ali, whatever you want to call it, force of nature, personality kind of thing going on that neither of them had. Scholes and Lampard, they weren't. They're just great players. They didn't have that X factor personality wise. Lampard isn't dragging us to a, like Lee is saying, to those things that Gerrard could. That's the way I would look at it. But England wasted Scholes by trying to fit him in, and they wasted Gerrard as well, I suppose. But hey, that argument will still be going on in 25 years' time. Who was better, Lampard or Scholes or Gerrard? I just think all three had their qualities.
Yeah.
Obviously, Stevie was the best.
Yeah, Stevie had better defensive qualities than both of them. He wasn't just as the attacking side of his game, was he?
Yeah, well, Stevie, yeah. Lampard wasn't. Yeah, Scholes was famous for being a really bad tackler. Like Scholes was famous for getting there about 7 seconds too late. Stevie was hard. He'd hurt you.
I remember England played Germany in 2000, and he tackled Haman, and he said Haman screamed like a little girl when he tackled him. Apparently, Haman wailed when Stevie cut him down playing for England v Germany. That's what Stevie said about Haman's anguished cries.
Stevie wasn't afraid of anything. Yeah, Scholes was famous though for being a really, not intentionally, but he just couldn't tackle, so he ended up hurting people a lot because he'd get there like 3 seconds too late, and he'd end up getting sent off. He got a lot more red cards than people remember, but Stevie was just Steve was always up for the battle. Like Steve Lampard, not a battler, not a fighter. Not saying he was weak or anything, but just Gerrard had those kind of otherworldly kind of qualities that once he put on that Liverpool shirt, things just changed,
He scored so many from distance, didn't he, Gerrard? Volleys, free kicks, all sorts. Yeah, he was a vastly different player to Scholes.
Yeah. There was a lot of other names on this list that were interesting too.
I do think they're right though, in terms of I do believe Thierry Henry is potentially the best Premier League player. And that guy was real special.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Premier League, yeah.
But that's also the reason why,
how many seasons did he have Arsenal for before he went to Barca? Was it like 4 or 5? Was it? He was at Arsenal for Thierry Henry.
Sorry, what?
Oh no, I don't know. I'd have to look that up. But I was going to say, I think that's also why Grizz's shout for Mohamed Salah being a name that could be possibly not only introduced into this list, but also possibly higher up on this list, I think, is a really super strong shout, to be honest with you, because there are some statistics and records that that Salah has broken that were once held by Henry and the likes, and and he's getting to those levels and stages with his career at Liverpool that could be arguable it could be arguable, at least.
I was picking a Man U player, a midfielder. I picked Keane over Scholes. If that Keane out on Ferguson's side from the moment he stepped in.
Just Lee, were you asking how many seasons was he at Arsenal? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, Thierry Henry.
Oh yeah, he joined in 99. He left in 07.
Okay, so he had like
Then it
7
was
seasons.
yeah, he 254 games
Yeah,
in
yeah.
the
It was
league.
long.
I think there's a stat. There is a stat out there that shows like the same
99
amount, like as in because Salah's like nearing or at the same amount of years that he's had in the Prem as Henry had, but yet like you can see that his numbers are definitely.
I don't know why people want to talk about them because you just put one on the left and you put one on the right, and there you go.
Yeah,
I don't even know why people need to make a thing out of it. What a front three.
Yeah.
Pick your number 9 then. Torres, obviously, but you know
it's all part of it. It's all part of it. If you do want to see this episode or what I'm referencing, this was the actual. Let me make sure this is big enough for you to see make sure that I give proper props to him. This is Zach's page. He's got 27,000 subscribers, so he doesn't necessarily need my help per se, but you know, we are all part of the same community, so I definitely would like to see you know, everyone do well in it. There's the title of this was 20 Premier League fans rank who has the most annoying fans. You can see Allison there, and you can see actually Grizz in the leather coat there. And it wasn't surprising to see Arsenal get voted as having the most annoying fans. It was surprising to see West Ham as the 4th choice, as number
Chelsea,
4.
Above Chelsea, that's a strange one to me. I thought Chelsea would have been more.
Yeah, because they're weirdos. They can't stop going on about how they won the World Cup. Just stop.
Yeah, that thing. I forgot about that.
West Ham?
Yeah, Alan
Ball. West Ham won the World Cup. Did you not know that?
The other one and the other one was in the team.
Did you not know that, Tough Man?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. England didn't win it. It had like three or four of the main guys in it.
Bobby
and then
Moore.
The manager. They were all West Ham people.
Yeah.
So they were like the spine, as you might say, of the England
Bobby
team.
Moore, Martin Pieces,
won the Yeah, they've been living off it ever since. They have been living off it ever since. They call themselves.
Maybe it's just the fact that they're breathing in the tiny bubbles. Maybe
Bobby Moore was the business. The right to be proud of him. Jeff Hurst was like a bit of a one-off thing in that World Cup. His career wasn't much apart from that. He never did much. It was just like a
12 man. Do you know why? Do you want to know what really annoys them? You know this whole like Arsene Wenger coming along and like playing like fancy football, really good football.
Mm-hmm.
Like when all these English cloggers, they always used to just beat each other up and kick the ball into the mud or something. West Ham consider themselves famous for doing that in the 60s, like playing proper. I think they call themselves like Everton calls themselves the School of Science, as in like how West Ham. West Ham have a very similar name to it's something like the school of how to play good football, basically.
Right.
Yeah, they think they're like looking at Arsenal going, we did that shit in the 60s, lads. We were known as a team that played fancy football, basically. That's what they've always seen themselves as, and it's like I've never understood how they constantly fail.
Yeah, we played West Ham in the League Cup final in 81, the first time we ever won the League Cup, 80-81. We won the European Cup as well against Madrid that year in Paris, but we won against West Ham. I think it was a replay.
Like for modern viewers, well, not even modern viewers, but basically, as far for modern viewers, this might be close, but to West Ham fans, the most West Ham player of all time is Joe Cole. A number 10, plays like Messi, dribbler, passer, creative, 20 out of 20 for creativity, 20 out of 20 for flair, 20 out of 20 for passing. That to them is a proper West Ham player. They think that's what they're known for. Back in the 90s, oh, Julian Dix and all this shit. No, they see themselves as being like this club that generated like top quality players that play good football.
Because Jeff Hurst got the hat-trick in the final against Germany, but he was only in the team because Jimmy Greaves was injured, so they wouldn't have been able to grow as much like if injury hadn't robbed Greaves of his place in the side. But he got that hat-trick, didn't he? And Bobby Moore was captain. There was Martin Peters. There was someone else as well. There was another one.
But back then,
Alan Ball. I think Alan Ball played for them. I know he might have still played for Blackpool. Did he then? Alan Ball. He might have won that.
I just know that the reason that they gave was because West Ham apparently, amongst fellow Londoners, are the most annoying out of the London clubs. In London, from the London team perspective, they're the most annoying out of the London team perspective. But I still don't understand why, considering not every team that was here representing, because Grizz was like, originally Chelsea was at like 13th or something ridiculous. Or she was like standing next to, I think, the Manchester City supporter, and I was just like, I don't understand. I can understand why Manchester City possibly are in 13th because Manchester City have about 13 fans, but still, when it comes to you don't run into a lot of Manchester City fans. The ones that are present certainly are pretty annoying, but you just don't run into many true Manchester City fans. I mean, the ones that have like really been through the thick and thin with Manchester City before the money came involved in their franchise. But when I saw West, I was like, Chelsea needs to definitely be up. And that's how Chelsea eventually did get moved up to the 5th spot, but they ended up moving. They were in 4th spot, but then they moved West Ham, Anita and some of her, and I think it was the guy from, I want to say Crystal Palace maybe, that was saying, or Fulham, the guy from Fulham making the argument. The guy from Fulham made the argument that West Ham should be 4th ahead of Chelsea because they're more annoying to him than Chelsea is. And I was like, okay, maybe you got a brown paper bag on, or no, it's a brown envelope on that choice, but that was kind of interesting.
No, the handful of fans that sit here I've got are super annoying though. They're like annoying to the power of 10. They're just really annoying. The handful of bad fans that City have got. So they should be higher up the table, even though there's only a few of them.
This is interesting. Quite
it runs deep, man. If you ask someone why they dislike something, you're going to get a different kind of version, especially some of these people you see on those kind of things.
Yeah, certainly.
They'll have their own little, well, I don't like them. It's like, well, why? You don't get the proper answer. These weird little guys on it. Very strange people that go on those things. Like, where do you go? You imagine like you turn up some like kind of industrial estate in London or something. And he's like, oh, this is the studio, and it's like, oh, look, there's that guy on YouTube. It's like, never going to sit together for the next 7 hours. It'd be weird, man. It'd be weird.
Can I say too, guys, get your opinion. I know I already brought the graphic down, but let me see if I can bring it up. See if I can bring it up real quick again. On this one graphic, before we bounce out, we're getting close to ending the show here. Let me see here. Hold on a second. Trying to find it. On this graphic. This graphic here, Everton were in. Who has the best player in the Premier League? Who has had the best player in the Premier League? Excuse me. We see the list here again. Harry Kane. I'm trying to think who they went with. I wonder who Ant. We have to ask Ant when we play Ant. We'll have to ask him who he thinks was the best player for Leicester. I don't remember who they offered up.
No,
Oh, he'll say it's Mahrez, yeah. But
Okay.
you're going to need to get Ant if you want to get Ant for a preview because he's going to be in Liverpool, right? For the game, so you won't get him on Christmas Eve because Christmas Eve, won't get him Christmas Day, and you won't get him on the game day. So we'll need I'll try and ask him to come in. I'd imagine like the 23rd, so either
That's a
tomorrow or
shot.
next day.
I think
Try and get him in. Have a shout, but yeah, you won't get him.
I think they might. That might have been the answer.
Yeah, they might have gone with Kante, but if you ask Ant, he'll tell you it's Mahrez. I know that for a fact. Yeah, he's the best.
He's a big Mahrez fan. Yeah,
well, he's the best player he's seen. Kante, yes, but in terms of technical ability and all that stuff, Mahrez just stands out head and shoulders. Kante is a machine, but depends what you're talking about in terms of like best player or whatever. But technically, you think Mahrez the best player he's ever seen at Leicester.
The other choices here, I don't remember all the other players that they chose for the other clubs, but I do remember because Southampton's had a bunch of players. I don't know who they said as being. I don't remember who they said. I should rewind it and see.
Yeah, have to be Letizia. Premier League. Have to be.
Did they say Red Armchair? Did they say who they said? They might have said. Maybe they said Wes Morgan.
Yeah, I think that might be a bit of a joke.
That's why Everton are in 10th because Wayne Rooney played for them first. Can't see what else.
Vardy would have been interested, or
I would expect.
Vardy. They did say that, Pops. They did say this. It
has to be Letizia. Yeah, we said it. Same. It has to be Letizia.
Yeah. That's who Southampton was. I mean, I guess
Everton fans might have nominated Leighton Baines as being one of their best Premier League.
Wait, who do you think is the best Southampton Premier League player?
I mean, they could have been Mane or who else? I mean, that is who they picked. I do remember that's who they picked. But I know. They could have made a shout maybe for Virgil, right?
Anyone who didn't play for Liverpool, maybe.
Anyone that didn't play for Liverpool, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, that's Southampton is one of those. We get a lot of our great players from there. Yeah.
Liverpool fan thinks the two best players play for or Liverpool. Yeah, it's Letizia, man. If you're a real Southampton fan, it's Letizia.
Okay.
That guy was ridiculous.
It wasn't, and again, this wasn't on legacy. It was just on your best. Like who was the best player?
But he's better. Have you seen Letizia?
Yeah,
on my fault. Have you seen Virgil van Dijk? I got you.
No, Letizia. No, go back and watch Letizia. That guy just owned the goal in the month competition.
He was unreal, wasn't he, Letizia, in that respect.
Oh, he was just a joke.
I understand.
He was a joke, man.
I got you.
Ricky Lambert, good shout for Ricky. Ricky with the big forehead.
Yeah, there you go.
Becky, Becky with the good hair. Ricky with the big forehead.
There you go. A reason why I brought this back up real quick though was because for Everton, who do you think they would have nominated as their best? I think Brian already told you who it was, so don't spoil it for them. But who do you think Everton was? Who do you think as in for Premier League? Lee, who would your dad say probably is the best player Everton has had in the Premier League?
Premier League.
His dad would probably say, "Fuck the Premier League." They're
I know. I probably
there's Rooney, Leighton Baines was good for them in the Premier League area. Performed well for them. Olivier Cole was good for a short time before he got bought, took away from them. Struggling apart from that, they haven't really had any. Lukaku was good for them on loan. He just didn't belong to them.
No, they bought Lukaku.
They bought Lukaku.
Everyone bought him. Yeah, they bought him.
Did they end up buying him? Oh, yeah, they did buy him. Yeah, they had him on loan and they bought him.
Chelsea sold him to West Brom. Everton bought him from West Brom.
Coleman's been dead consistent. Coleman and Baines as fullbacks. Baines probably
that's the original Trent and Robbo. Coleman and Baines was up there. They were getting similar numbers. It's just the team wasn't as good.
Stones was there before City bought them.
Who do you think? So is I'm hoping that these are your guesses on who you thought that the guy who represented Everton. I don't know if you could see him in this picture. I think he is in there, but who you thought that they nominated? I was somewhat surprised. I was somewhat surprised of who he nominated as their best player. Yeah, you can. Yeah, Rodrigo was there for a brief minute.
Yeah, that don't count.
Yeah, that don't count. I mean, they bought him.
No, if you're talking about their best ever play, I mean, you got guys up there that played like 400 or 500 games. Like that's what you got to be talking about. I'm assuming I don't know who did. I know I said it earlier on. I'm not sure which time I said it, but
yeah, they actually, you'd be surprised. The guy that represented Everton offered up Lukaku as their best player they've had in the Premier League.
He needs to lose his job as Everton representative, basically. Yeah, definitely needs to lose his job as Everton representative.
Oh man, yeah, that's who he said. So it was very interesting to see. But
I'd say their best ever, the best player they've had during the Premier League era. To me, I would say Leighton Baines. He's one of the most underrated players of all time.
Yeah, he did do really well, Baines.
I think he is.
Did brilliantly for them at left back. Because they're dangerous, scored lots of goals, made lots of assists as well, deadly left foot.
Yeah, I mean, Rooney was probably the best player that's played for them.
You know why they said too? Because he was
only there for a short time. You know, he kind of came in and then he was gone.
2016, 2017, Lukaku scored 25 goals in the Premier League.
He made him dream. He made him dream again, and then he left.
He got them into Europe in 13, 14.
Who did they replace him with? Yeah,
so I mean, I get it. I get some of the. I was surprised myself. I absolutely was surprised myself to see that
he's in their top 3 or 4. He's in their top 3 or 4. Yeah.
All the goals he scored.
I wouldn't be giving him top spot. I think Baines, I think Coleman, who's still going, one of our best ever servants.
Mm-hmm.
Fellaini and Ferguson were well liked by the Evertonians, but I reckon Baines was a better player in his position than what Fellaini was.
I always thought that Fellaini was not.
Other than
his hair, that was about the best.
Yeah. All I remember is Carr's voice, where you hear Carr saying to the ref, "Watch Fellaini and his fucking elbows." And did you hear that? You hear Carr saying it in the tunnel just before they go out at Anfield. He goes to the ref, "Watch Fellaini and his effing elbows."
Yeah,
I think Pops is saying who is Red Armchair answered the question is Tim Cahill.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Tim Cahill. He was born on our sides when he was there. Yeah, he was dangerous.
Yeah, but the thing is, right? This is the thing. Like for all the shit, it's kind of like Mikel Arteta.
He was there for quite some time. He was there for.
Osman was a good statement.
He was there for 4 years. He was there for 4 years.
Pienaar played well for Everton. Pienaar wasn't a bad signing for Everton.
Yeah, but just Arteta likes to walk around, Arsenal like he's kind of Thierry Henry or. He likes to be like, oh, me. Oh, no, I used to play here. Oh, did you? Yeah. Oh, yeah, I was here, man. I did all the stuff here. Me, Mikel Arteta. Oh, yeah, look back, man. I'm an Arsenal guy. It's like, he did fuck all at Arsenal, man. Mikel Arteta did. He was brought in as a cheap Fabregas replacement.
Yeah, he was cheaper, wasn't he?
Mikel Arteta is an Everton player. In England, his legacy, if you want to call it that, is at Everton. That's where he played most of his main football.
Yeah, he played
for Rangers.
Yeah, he
played for Rangers, and then he went to Everton. He's not. He's not an Arsenal legend or anything. He likes to act like, oh, I never played for that. Oh, Everton? No, never heard of him. Where is that? You know? He likes to act like he's fucking he's bossing the midfield at Arsenal for 10 years. He was a bit part player. Got a few games here and there, and it was like the worst Fabregas replacement of all time. But no, this guy that's when you're talking about Pops is like when they were doing stuff back then. Arteta, Cahill, they were the guys. Arteta was one of their main players at Everton. That's when I think of Mikel Arteta, I think of Everton straight away. Then I think of Rangers as a player, and then I think of Arsenal.
Yeah,
he's not a guy that won stuff at Arsenal. He was never a mainstay at Arsenal, but he likes to walk around like I know this club. I'm from this club. It's like, no, dude, you're not. They got rid of. They had to leave Fabregas go. They were stuck, and they went for you on the last day of the season, basically. Yeah, he was awful. He was really good at Everton because Everton was him, Fellaini, Cahill, David Moyes, Happy Days. At Everton, Happy Days. That worked perfectly. Yeah. But at Barcelona, at Arsenal, Arteta was just he was bench fodder, man. He was bench fodder. But he likes to act like he's the embodiment of it. And Arsenal fans like to act like Arteta was there when they were doing shit or something. It's like, no, he was probably up there. I don't know where he was when he was playing for Rangers when you were winning things.
Yeah, no, I will say this for Lukaku. Was just speaking on how he was there in 2013-14. He scored 15 goals for them. In 2014-15, he scored 10 goals for them. In this is all Premier League too. 2015-16, he scored 18 goals for them. And then in 2016-17, he scored 25 goals for them.
And he got the big money move.
And then he got the move to Manchester United, which was a huge
89 million
paycheck for them. Absolutely. I mean,
and they replaced him with drumroll Cenk Tosun.
There you go. Yeah, Everton originally bought him for 28.8 million. 28.8 million was the original price they bought him from Chelsea. I guess you could add the 3 million that they spent on him for loan the year before that too. So that's around, let's just call it 32 million. But they doubled it. They certainly more than doubled it when they sold him to Manchester United for 74.2 million. And I don't know what it is about Lukaku, but he fetches a pretty penny. Manchester United sold him for 57.4. Then Inter sold him for 93.3 back to Chelsea. And yeah,
we're still nowhere near the Everton top bracket though. When you look at the players they've had,
now he's still getting 30. He got 30 million. He got shipped off to Napoli for 30 million.
Yeah, I don't. Well, that's his transfer price. I'm just saying, if you're talking about like the best Everton players, he can't be up there. There's no chance.
Okay.
I don't.
I don't represent Everton. Everyone.
I know, but you seem to be making a very strong case from it at the moment. It's just
not at all. I'll just say that was the guy who was there. That was what he said when he said Lukaku. He mentioned that 2016, 2017 year. That obviously was a year that he was very fond of because he mentioned the fact that he got 25 goals. I remember him saying he got 24, 25 goals, he said, or something like that. That's why I was like, oh, wow, okay. I wouldn't have said Lukaku. I wasn't expecting him to say Lukaku at all. I expected him to say Rooney, to tell you the truth. But I guess
the money they got for Rooney at the time is probably more than what they got out of Lukaku.
Yeah, with inflation, sure. Yeah.
100%. Like the money they got for Rooney at the time as a 18-year-old basically was that's like 180 million today. What they spent on Rooney, like 27 million I think back then. And if Everton had been looking back, Everton would be thinking, geez, we could have got 35. they definitely could. They got the money that was spent on Rooney back then was insane. That's how good he was too. Rooney was crazy good.
Yeah, definitely. I do wish at times it would have been nice if he had, rather than go to Manchester United, if he had gone to maybe Liverpool, but I guess that wasn't going to happen.
Not at that money. We couldn't even go near that. I don't think. And at that stage, we were.
It was
10
yeah.
with-
I agree. It just would have been nice though. It would have been nice, and it also would have been nice if he had like maybe pushed for that. If he wanted to say, I want to stay in Liverpool or something like that. I don't know. But all the same, yeah, it is what it is. I thought those lists were kind of interesting. I thought it was a interesting perspective. I will admit that they did give us love by show us love by saying that we, in the people's minds, we have the biggest, we have the most. Well, let me make sure I state it right. We have the best attack in the Premier League in all the content creators' minds. We had the best attack in the Premier League. It's something that is going to be on display this weekend. And I'm hoping that this is kind of a sight of what it was for the weekend or for yesterday for Spurs fans. I want to show you something. I saw this and I had to clip it up because it really, really stood out when I saw it. There was a moment where it was 3-2. They had just had those two just mistakes by their goalkeeper. And they... Yeah,
He knows. She knows.
Yeah, exactly.
She's been there before. She's been behind that goal before.
Like, I'll even show you even.
He's still in goal at the weekend, mate. He's
there was a close.
Fraser Forster.
I know there was a close up of it, and her face was just like, I think, just symbolized everyone's thoughts at that moment of that game. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Wow. But again,
welcome to life as a Tottenham fan.
It is not easy being a Spurs fan whatsoever.
Not when Forster's in goal.
Well, certainly not directly behind the goal.
I mean, she's directly behind the goal, so she couldn't get a better eyes view other than just being literally on the pitch. Basically.
She says herself, bloody hell, he's still our number 2. Haven't we got anyone better than him?
She's like 700 quid for this.
Yeah, that was it in a nutshell. I felt so bad for them. Her face is like, oh man. But again,
he's a goalkeeper. I think Shota could catch out at the weekend.
Yeah, I'm assuming we won't. I assume he will not be in the goal. In goal.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, the other guy. The other guy's fit, right? Assuming the other guy's fit, and I'm assuming they just rotated for the cup. I'm assuming Vicario is fit.
Oh no, I heard he's out.
He's out.
Oh, is he out?
Yeah, said
definitely.
He's out. And the two centre halves out. Richarlison's out.
Yeah, that's why they're in such. That's why, I mean, like, I don't know if I can show. I mean, the guy standing next to her kind of represents what her.
Oh, there you go. Well, if he is definitely, Foster will be playing if Vicario is out. Yeah, it'll be Gray. It'll be Dragusin, and it'll be Gray, Archie Gray, the guy they got from Leeds. That's who will play centre half. It won't be.
Yeah, their back line is rough.
Yeah, it'll be Dragusin, and it'll be Gray at centre half. It will be Porro at right back, and it will be Udogie at left back.
Yeah.
And if
Yeah.
Udogie
Well,
isn't fit, it would be Sessegnon, but it's going to be
Udogie's not
Gray.
fit either, technically. Yeah.
Yeah, so the centre half pairing then that we're all wondering about, it'll be Dragusin and Gray, not Davies. It won't be Ben Davies. So
It
it'll
says
be
he's out anyway.
Udogie might play. I'm not positive, but he might play. But I'm pretty sure he was.
Charleston Davies.
Their injury list is
Dario
long.
definitely out.
Ben Davies is out. Richarlison's out. Odebert's out. Van de Ven's out. Romero is out. Vicario is out. Not listed as doubtful, but out. Udogie, excuse me, is listed as doubtful. Moore is listed as doubtful. Timo Werner is listed as doubtful, but Benta Akure is suspended for this upcoming game too. So
for the
a lot of players. Big up, Max.
So.
Good to see you.
Yeah, Jed Spence.
Basuma and Madison in midfield, and they've got Werner, Son, Kulusevski up front, but they haven't got much at the back. I heard Udogi's back, and Werner for this clash, but they're out all the others.
Well, we'll be saving a little bit of this for you for tomorrow, because we're going to be doing our preview tomorrow, and we're also going to be hopefully joined by some of the gang. But most of all, I hope that you will be there with us to kind of talk and kind of give a little bit of your thoughts and predictions on tomorrow's game. Obviously, we'll have a roll call also for Sunday, but Saturday we'll have that going on for the preview. Also, if you are a part of our fantasy football league, be sure to get your picks in, because it will be the weekend is when games are going to start. I don't believe there's any games today. So you want to make sure that you get your picks in as soon as possible, so that you can get them in before the kickoff of the first game. I think because if you don't, then whatever you have is locked and loaded for that week.
No excuses for missing the deadline. No excuse for missing.
Exactly. I'm trying to help everyone and anyone. Yep.
Yeah. We don't want to hear about it afterwards. I missed the deadline. Yeah, you missed the deadline. Then that means you fucked up. So
yeah,
get it done. We don't hear about it afterwards. Oh, I would have done this, but I missed the deadline. Nope. Don't count.
Does not count. But yes, people. Woulda, shoulda, coulda. Lee, shout out to the people before we bounce out. We're at the 2:30 mark, so we're gonna let them go and do what they got to do on their Friday. I know it's late for you guys. It might even be Saturday by now. So I think it just turned Saturday.
No, it's only 11 p.m.
11. Here. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, some interesting suggestions for Everton's greatest Premier League player. Rideout was there from Red Armchair supporter. He scored the goal the last time they won something 30 years ago. I remember that day quite well. My cousin got married that day when Everton last won the FA Cup in '95.
Wow.
That's how long ago it is, mate. 30 years, nearly. 29 years.
Are they still together?
No, my cousin and her husband got divorced.
I would have had a fiver.
For a second, I thought you said you got married. Okay, all right, that's a whole different.
No, my cousin got married, but she got divorced.
Okay, all right, got you.
On that day when Everton won the FA Cup, Saturday, bloody, I don't know, May or something, 1995.
Okay. Well, what do you have to say to people, other than updates on your cousin's marriage?
I'm all right. It's been 30 years. Yeah, just thanks for your contributions, everyone. Jed Spence, have they still got Jed Spence at the Spurs? He wouldn't play, would he? Because Porro's fit, isn't he? But he could play.
He played the other night.
And Johnson as well. They've still got players, haven't they, enough to put a team out, but that does weaken them quite a bit. The goalie and the centre half, doesn't it?
Yeah. The goalie is the big thing. I mean, when Vicario went down, I mean, like, that was the talk about on it all. But we'll talk more about that tomorrow. Join us for the preview tomorrow. We're definitely going to get into some conversation about our upcoming opponents, because it's going to be a Daniel Day-Lewis event for tomorrow, and when it comes to goals. So we will have that for sure. But Brian, any shout outs that you want to do before we bounce?
Oh, just shout out to my channel. Shout out to Barney if you can put the link to my channel, you know,
Yeah,
you want to be a
definitely
mod,
appreciate
you got to do mod stuff.
mod
Only
stuff,
joking, you
mod
know.
stuff.
Yeah, shout out to everybody that's been here tonight. Max, I know he came in late. Red Armchair, we did a show earlier on, and Red Armchair was calling in. Didn't quite work out in terms of technical stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but Red Armchair, call in again, man. Make sure you call in again. You've
Oh,
been
Red
in.
Armchair supporter. If you called in, yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
got you,
Make
Red
sure.
Armchair supporter. You call in on Brian's show. You don't call in on our show. I got you. I got you.
Yeah, yeah. No, but he was just he
I'm
was
just
on a
kidding.
break from work, and he a lot of
Mhm.
delay on his audio and stuff.
I got you.
Bernie, you just go to my channel, and then you go to about channel, and you can copy the link, and you can put the link into the chat. You've been here a while.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, no, Red Armchair. Make sure you do call in again, and especially next time on this channel. You're always welcome, man. You're
Oh,
always welcome.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So everyone that's been here tonight, yeah. See you again tomorrow, right? See you again tomorrow. Usual
Yeah.
stuff, usual time, all that stuff.
Yeah.
You're always invited, Red. It's an open invitation. You don't need to be invited. You're Irish, man. You
Yeah.
know the door is always
Yeah.
open. The
That's
door is
not
always
even a
open.
question. That's not even a question.
Yeah, the door is always open.
All right.
You're not a
Well,
vampire or something, are you? One of those vampires you can't come in unless you're invited.
unless you're
That what
invited,
it is?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, we are going to let you guys dwell over the vampire status of some, and also for those that are still up or are just getting up, possibly, or maybe it's midday for you, whichever it is. I hope that's a great one for you, because you know how I do. I always really, really appreciate the love that you guys show by joining us and by supporting us and by passing on the message of bringing others into the fold. But also, I really do have gratitude for the fact that I get the grace of being a part of this group, this Reds community with you. So definitely appreciate it. And Bernie just put in the link for Brian's channel. So
Yeah,
be
and
sure
go
if you
and
haven't.
subscribe to Beijing Reds if you
Oh,
haven't.
absolutely.
Pops to Beijing Reds. Anything else we can think of? No.
Yep. I think that's all that kind of chimed in today for the community. That because we did see Pops, we did see Rasta Crab. So with that said, hey, tomorrow's gonna be fun. We're gonna talk about it. You know what I mean? We're definitely talk about this upcoming match. It's a preview. It's going to be possible revenge settings. Hopefully, revenge settings for players like Lucho, for players that went through the ordeal last year, especially because we do owe them a little bit of revenge for that game, because that still sits in with some of us. But more so than anything, we just want to get these 3 points. That's the biggest objective for us, is getting these 3 points, marching on against a very, very capable team of scoring against us, and a very, very capable team of actually being deadly on their good and given day. So we want to make sure that we don't fall prey to that. And we will talk about it all tomorrow. So join us tomorrow, same time, same place. It'll be at 7:00 actually tomorrow. Our normal hour of the day. And and we will see you soon. Yeah, definitely. If you can, definitely go. Beijing Reds are going live in about 20 minutes. Bonkers just said. So yeah, if you do, go to their channel, just say, hey, Liberal 12th Man raid. Beijing Pops doesn't have to say it, but obviously, just say, hey, a little bit of a raid, so we can show that we do support our fellow Reds always. So big up, and we will see you tomorrow, or possibly in 20 minutes. So we'll see you soon. Up the Reds as always, people. Up the Reds.